1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Welcome back to the Racial Draft Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Ford. I'm joined by my co-host, Kia Lisi herself.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
And we are joined by two illustrious guests from the Multiracial Delegation and the U.S. military, Kevin Shepard, or Shep himself.
That's right.
Say something.
Well, I was
They
basking in glory.
they
Let me
can't
have my time.
see your Zoom, sir, unless they pay Patreon fees.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm basking in glory here, so.
And we are joined by a very special guest, Arturo Garcia, the analyst supreme.
Glad to be back, and great timing too. I think Disney just wrapped up its investor talk like maybe 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you all have stock in Disney. You made a small fortune over the weekend. So we are here to break down the very first round of season 2 of the racial draft. And let's jump right into it because we had a lot of business. We have our 9 delegations. We have our different heroes that changed racial hands.
If I could set the table,
Sure.
As someone who's more invested in the storytelling than the numerology, which that's fascinating in and of itself. I was a little worried that this type of format would become a game of musical chairs between what's called the two trinities and maybe your other A-list characters. But in looking up and comparing season 1's first round to our recently concluded first round, only 2 repeat characters, and in fact a couple of forward-facing character picks, and I believe in Echo and Doctor Strange. How did you all feel about the breakdown?
Well, I think one of the things that kept kept things from being a little bit too formulaic was the introduction of the wild card poll, which I think people didn't make use of in full capacity in season 1, but in season 2, everyone knows the power of the wild card poll, and that locked up a lot of our Trinity characters and made it hard for people to reach in and make them first round picks. It's going to be interesting whether they get locked up in second round polls or whether we'll see a little bit chalk in the second round. But Kia, what did you think about the picks overall?
It's hard to say because Latinx team, pretty much loaded their poll just to block everybody. They totally cock blocked everybody. But I think that for the most part, everybody kind of did their thing, I guess. I wasn't too thrilled about the Black Panther pick, but why. And also the Echo pick was kind of cool, but at the same time, I feel like it could have been more creative.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's get into it then. Starting us off, the first pick in season 2 was the same as the first pick of season 1, which was really surprising. The Asian delegation went with Captain America, Steve Rogers.
I don't hate them for that. I mean, I was first pick last round and last season, and yeah, I mean they're just trying to follow in the footsteps of greatness. So.
That is perfectly fair. I think I'll go ahead and, for those people who maybe are a little bit unfamiliar with Steve Rogers because they're living under a rock, I'll go ahead and read a little summary about Steve Rogers. Captain Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, the first Avenger, was rejected by the U.S. Army during World War II due to numerous health problems. He ultimately volunteered for Project Rebirth, where he received the super soldier serum developed by Dr. Abraham Erskine. The serum greatly enhanced his frail body to the peak of human physicality as a sentinel of liberty alongside his best friend Bucky Barnes and the invaders. Rogers and others helped the Allies win the war, but not before he was lost in sea and frozen in ice form frozen in ice in a form of suspended animation for decades. He was thawed out in the modern age to continue the battle alongside his new allies, the Avengers. Cap is loyal to no politician or government and instead upholds the timeless principles of freedom, equality, and justice of the American dream. We did not get an amended backstory from the Asian delegation, so it will remain to be seen whether there were some tweaks to his backstory, given that he is now presumably Asian American. As far as the response from the fans, this got an 88% approval rating from the fans. 48% strongly approved of it, 40% somewhat approved of it, and we had 4% somewhat disapprove and 8% somewhat. Strongly disapprove. Arturo, what do you think of the pick?
It's I like Steve as a pick. Ironically, like I just said, I worry that he's one of those characters that and could end up just being kind of passed around
Mm-hmm.
as this game goes on. But based on the methodology, alone, I can't fault it.
Yeah, I mean, I think both in terms of fantasy comics league strategy, or just in terms of the symbolism of having one of Marvel's highest profile marquee characters ensconced in your delegation, it's definitely a strong pick. Shep, what did you think of the pick? Shep, are you on mute, Shep?
Shep, I think, is frozen.
Oh, all right. Well, Kia, why don't you hop in?
That's what
and-
Shep thought about that pick. He just said, "Fuck this shit." This.
Apparently.
Well, I'm a little confused. I'm like, okay, so you called him Asian. Yay. What? I mean, like, at least, like, I have to say, like, I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't come with the backstory. I mean, I at least came for a backstory for Captain America. I mean, I'm not about those backstories. So I kind of want to know, what part of Asia is he from? Like, what were his parents like? I just want to know. And I feel as though, they didn't put out the way they should.
I hear that. A little disappointing to say the least, but hopefully.
No, it's really disappointing, actually. And, I'm going to go hard on the Asian delegation because, you know what? I've noticed that they have yet to come on the podcast. I'm going to call you out there too. Hello. And I'm going to just say, like, hey, like, why don't you come on here? Discuss your picks. We want to know. We're interested. Don't just like throw a pick in there and disappear. We want you here. Come hither.
We have a couple drop-ins from the Latinx delegation. We have Martine, the adorable one himself.
Yeah, that's going to continue.
Hey, Martine. We've just jumped into talking about the picks. We were talking about the first pick from the Asian delegation, Captain America. What were your impressions of the pick?
I like it. I mean, I still want to know more. I mean, I have an idea where they're going to go with it because he's an Asian, I'm assuming Asian American,
Right.
fighting in World War II. More than likely, like based on the implication of the things that were going on here at the time, probably Japanese.
Yeah, I think I could see that for sure.
Maybe, but we don't know.
What do you think, Arturo?
Well, I live in Southern California, San Diego specifically, and there's the Filipino population might like a word about what to do with Steve, especially in a wartime context.
Okay, I could see that as well. I mean, it would be really nice if Ron from the Asian delegation would give us some insight into the direction that he would go.
But he's not here, is he?
That's right.
That's right. Call him out. Call him out.
Mr. Commissioner, I don't want to start in trouble, but is there the possibility of possibly docking delegations who don't come up with a backstory in the future?
Backstories have always been optional. However, I think that it often ends up reflecting poorly on how it's received in terms of by the fans. in this respect, I guess it didn't hurt their approval rating that much. But who knows, in future drafts, people might want to wait for the backstory before they decide whether they ultimately approve or disapprove of the pick.
Especially if in reference to like if it's a particularly popular character, then they'll be like, okay, we want to hear more about like how did you change up their story or how did you kind of add some new flavor to it.
And that voice you hear is Randy.
I was like, is that Jesus?
That voice you hear is Randy from the Black Delegation. Randy, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, folks. I'm in for the Black Delegation. I've been recently elevated. I'm feeling, good. So I had to make my proper introduction after my promotion.
All right. Well, I mean, if we said everything that actually,
the shepherd is back.
I think so. Shep, kind of you to rejoin us. What were your thoughts of the Captain America pick?
I liked it because I'm like, it writes itself. To me, Captain American is Japanese American, plucked out of the internment camps. It writes itself.
Wow.
But he really didn't say
so you're
that,
taking
did he?
you're taking that as the stance. That is where, see, this is what happens when it's forced to write itself. Everyone comes up with their own backstory. I would be interested in finding out what the Asian delegation's view of the character is, though. But we shall move on. And it's only fitting that we move on to the second pick, which is the multiracial delegation, which also did not submit a backstory. So
I did submit a backstory on purpose because that's going to lead into the RPG segment later on.
Well, that a likely story. However, that pick for the people who have not been following along on the social media is James Logan Howlett, aka Wolverine. I'll go ahead and read it. James Logan Howlett is a Canadian mutant and member of the X-Men, born more than a century ago. The long-lived man has a rage of a beast and the soul of a samurai. Logan's once mysterious past is filled with blood, war, and betrayal. He describes himself as being the best there is at what he does, but what he does best isn't very nice. Logan possesses an accelerated healing factor, keenly enhanced senses, and bone claws in each hand. His bones were coated with adamantium, an almost indestructible metal, as part of the Weapon X program to make him their ultimate weapon. He would later join the X-Men, a team of heroes fighting for peace between humans and mutants. Now, Shep.
Yes, sir.
The people want to know, what are the implications of multiracial, you've already indicated, half black, half white Wolverine?
Multiracial Wolverine has been fighting for, basically to improve Black people's lives in both Canada and America for this past century. So he's the figure that you would see up in the back with Malcolm X, with Harry P. doing marches, still to done military service stints, because historically in this country, that's been the best way to kind of help push Black advancement as far as socially go. So those parts would stay the same, but he would be a lot more involved in America in its past and doing things about it, because until the word mutant really came out, and has been a thing, he'd been Black first.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but like, what about his white side? What is he doing to progress the white things of all white things?
Hopefully progressing past them.
Exactly.
I mean, because he is half. I mean, like,
he is half, but one drop rule is still one drop rule.
Especially in the time frame, that we're talking about, right? The time frame. What year are we talking about, Shep?
Well, like I said, I still keep the timeline the same as when he was born, except for he would have been more of the migration we saw of Black people leaving America post-Civil War, moving up towards into the Canadian territories, which still had actually completely abolished slavery already by that time. I was doing some research to make sure it worked right. As in part of the territory. So he could still be a Canadian citizen, but he would definitely still be more tied to dipping down below the border. I mean, if you're a mutant and you're a mutant with that you're a white person, if you're Emma Frost, being a mutant hasn't really hurt you throughout your life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're Black, if you're Wolverine, who's a Black or a Black descended mixed race mutant, before they notice that you're a mutant, you were Black.
So
Wait, is he
phenotypically,
white passing?
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So phenotypically,
I wouldn't go with white passing because I think that kind of takes away because that doesn't change anything or make any conflict or bring anything new. If he was just very light skinned, white passing going along, he's not, the conflict isn't going to come up because then he'll pull that whole, well, I'm Canadian. No, man.
So he definitely has black features.
Yes.
Maybe slightly lighter skinned, but I suppose he still has the standard Wolverine hair texture that we all know and love.
What we got to, except for maybe he'll braid it. If I have to do something with it.
Wolverine with cornrows. I need to see that.
Now I'm very interested to know what the potential racial implications of the Weapon X program would be in this reimagining.
Well, we would put this reimagining back to where we know all these experiments were done, like the Tuskegee experiments and everything else, and put it actually more truth into it than the Weapon X program did. These are the experiments, the same way they did to the Puerto Ricans in the 60s. These are the people that that America has been happy to experiment upon. They got rid of animal testing way before they got rid of testing on people of color.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be more of those things, his struggle for like the mutant struggle for mutants' rights would be more of a thing that, our multiracial Wolverine has been dealing with. It's just one more thing before anybody, said the N word, he was the N word way before that.
What N word is that? Shep?
As far as the mutant word, as far as how Marvel likes to treat, calling somebody a mutant likes the same way as calling you a nigger or not. So.
Oh, that word.
That word. So
before he was being called the M word, he was being called the N word, is what you're saying.
That's right.
I got it. Arturo, what are your thoughts about the multiracial Wolverine?
Even before the backstory, I thought this was a strong pick, not just because Wolverine's a prolific character, but because the X-Men are in the midst of the Ten of Swords crossover, and you can imagine that Logan / James / Wolvie will be in the thick of it as that winds down. Kevin, let me ask, how much did that factor into the pick here?
That was part of it too. I was trying to do some of both backstory and both by point wise. I mean, the major X-Men event afterwards is going to be a big one. That they're already talking to past X of Swords. He's their marquee character. He's going to be in it. I mean, there's no doubt. And I just knew by point wise, I'm pretty sure he's projected probably to, was he like 4th last year in projection points?
I don't have that number in front of me. I think
it's 4th or 5th.
I think
I honestly feel he's going to be 2nd or 3rd this year
in terms of Marvel characters.
Yeah, in
terms of Marvel characters, he's definitely up there as far as I remember.
You never have to guess that he's going to be around.
Exactly. In terms of the approval rating, he got an 88.9 approval rating from the fans. That's 55.6% strongly approve, 33.3% somewhat approve, 11.1% somewhat disapprove, and 0% strongly disapprove. So the people really liked Multiracial Wolverine. Some of the responses, Martine, of course, said it was an excellent pick. Shaun said this is the pick. And our friend Immortal Beloved said Black Logan with cornrows or dreads. Shit, I like it.
If I could just interject here real quick.
Sure.
I kind of figured that he would be picked multiracial, and I hate to kind of say that, like, with hindsight being 2020, but it kind of makes sense that he would be picked interracial. But I was also thinking of, like, instead of him being black and white, I was thinking that he might have been white and Inuk.
Oh,
it just it made me feel like, okay, well, maybe because it's he's up in Canada, so of course they have a long history of like oppressing the native, the First Nations people up there. So I mean, not that it was it was not necessarily a missed opportunity, but just was a new aspect that I didn't expect. But
I actually
really
had that thought, Randy, at first too, because of the Canadian background, but then I didn't want it to dovetail into that noble savage trope.
Right.
Wolverine is always kind of savage and anything else.
Yeah.
That is a really good
that
point.
was my only, I really had an optics thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, you could really see the idea that this savagery is something that was kind of foisted upon him. You know, obviously, black people deal with being depicted as savages as well, but they were also dehumanized.
Right.
And you know, one of the pics that I chose of him have him in chains, which you know was intentional because the treatment of him in the Weapon X program, as you know, Shep mentions, the fact that you know black people were routinely what experimented on, it fits within that tradition for Wolverine to be yet another one of those test subjects.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you know who knows? Maybe in the '60s he was Weapon X because he was a Muslim. You know, Nation of Islam Wolverine.
Oh yeah, I have a whole sequence in my head of just seeing him in different periods of time. Picked
Okay.
out, so he's like he's just in
Hey,
everything.
no, you said Weapon 10. I said Weapon X.
Exactly. Anyone else have any thoughts about multiracial Wolverine?
I just have one question.
Sure.
Is he still short?
He better be.
Better be.
But he's black people short,
Like Kevin Hart?
so he's like 5'8".
Aw.
Kevin Hart.
No, he's 5'8". He's 5'8" in his Timbs. He's 5'8" in his Timbs. He's
Or
5.
like Chick Hearn said, he's 5'8" with the afro. He's 6'1".
That's it.
Eli, if you're listening, we need cornrow Wolverine. We definitely need it. All right. Now we have our first controversy, if you will. As we all know, this year we instituted time limits for the picks, and we had a couple teams hit their time limit and not do a pick. And in the tradition of other fantasy drafts, there was an auto pick instituted, and in my
Yeah.
discretion as commissioner, I auto pick. And the black
Mhm.
delegation, which happens to have a representative here, Randy, did not get their pick in. Were not diligent, and they in turn got an auto pick of an existing black character, and that
Yeah.
character is Black Panther, aka T'Challa.
Yeah.
Uh,
Why don't
we
we just
all
give him points?
So first of all, I just want to apologize because I was assuming that we were operating on colored people time. I thought I'd have a little bit more of a time period to get everything in order. So that's my fault. I apologize.
Well, for those who don't know, T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, is the head of state for the African nation of Wakanda, the most technologically advanced country on Earth. In this role, he is the king, chieftain, religious leader, and commander-in-chief, all rolled into one. He was also considered among the top intellects in the world. Using Wakanda's advanced vibranium technology and his own abilities and fortune, he pledged his life to the service of humankind. And yes, since he's staying black, I imagine there are no major changes to his backstory. Let's go ahead and see what the people think of the pick. The people gave it a 87.5% approval rating, with 79.2 strongly approve, 8.3 somewhat approve, 4.2 somewhat disapprove, and 8.3 strongly disapprove.
Yep, that
I would
was me.
imagine that part of that strongly disapprove is Kia Lisi. Kia,
Oh,
state
yeah.
your case.
Oh, I was so mad. I was so freaking mad. You know, they don't come to play, but yet they get like a guy that gives out points. I mean, last season, there were people that were fighting over this guy. And then they don't come to play and they just get, oh, here you go. Here's Black Panther. Here's some points. I know you didn't come to play, but here you go.
No, worry not, Kialisi. I've come to play this time. So we're gonna step up our game this time around.
Well, I
Mike, I
mean,
have a
do you
question.
need to? Do you need to if you're getting like, I mean, if you're going to get Black Panther type picks, I mean, I wouldn't show up for the whole season. Let's see how it goes. Like, come on.
Arturo, what was your question?
Well, I guess I'm curious as to how it was T'Challa specifically who got the nod here. It was, you know, when you're on a fantasy Meat Space Football League, the host will provide a list of available players ranked by X and Y variables. Was there a similar list constructed for this draft, or did you unilaterally say, let's, because of T'Challa's high profile going in, he becomes the default draft pick?
Yes. Yes. Typically, like you said, in a fantasy draft, the best player available is drafted. In fantasy perspective, according to the pre-draft rankings. What I decided to do in this instance is because of the race bend aspect and because of the backstory aspect, I went with the best available character who is of that same background.
Because what stuck out to me, and I hate to feel like I'm horning in on Shaun's territory here, T'Challa is going to be a very interesting character to watch over the course of, let's say, the next year or two. Not to jump the gun, but Marvel did announce that the role will not be recast, at least in this iteration of the MCU.
Yeah.
That will, and I'm one of those people who was greatly relieved by that, and there's a whole discussion there. But
stay tuned.
Practically speaking, that is going to create a lot of upheaval, I believe, for the character moving forward, because if we do get a new Black Panther on film, what does Marvel Comics do? What does Marvel Animation do? And that, as you said earlier, that will affect point totals when we see characters appear in alternative media.
That is true.
So, this struck me as there's going to be a lot going on with T'Challa in particular beyond this season. So I do wonder how that's going to affect him in the league moving forward.
That is a very good point, and it unfortunately, because we are not in a position to truly fully project out what the future of the character is. Obviously, the character has immense status right now. Perhaps when we move closer to when the movie begins filming, we'll have a better idea of the direction that they choose to take. And of course, we will discuss that later in our news segment about what the potential implications of T'Challa not being recast in the MCU might be. Obviously, there was a lot of consternation given what happened with Chadwick Boseman in the Black community about the importance of that character, and that did factor into the thought process in terms of what would be the default pick if Black people sort of collectively were making a pick of the character that they would draft. Does anyone else have any thoughts about the T'Challa pick?
Well, I had like basically when I actually saw that you had made the auto pick. Of course, I wasn't like mad or anything. Of course, I kind of,
Yeah, of course you weren't.
but I'm saying, I guess I kind of it sort of made me sort of snap out of my more passive thought process about it from the last season, where I didn't really take it that seriously, and I was now basically now I'm kind of seeing, okay, well, let me get into the mindset of what might be a more prominent character, so that I don't like spend all my time trying to just defend Black characters, but also potentially bring over some really good assets from other delegations as well. So
okay.
I had my top 5 Black people that I was like, I want to at least get 2 or like maybe 3 out of these 5, and all the other ones are kind of
fair game.
Yeah, fair game. So I'm good that we got Black Panther out of at least at least if we don't get all 5, then at least we got him, and he's a really good pick. So.
Well, I mean, I really want to hear what Tamati has to say, considering he really wanted Black Panther, if I'm not mistaken. I think I remember him saying that. So, Tamati, what's your thoughts?
I was going to introduce Tamati from the Polynesian delegation, who has just joined us a couple minutes ago. Tamati, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey guys, it's Tamati here. Can you hear me?
Yes, from the future, speaking to us from tomorrow.
Not too bad.
Wow, it's beautiful tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Tamati here, just checking in for our podcast this week. Just to pick up on what Kia was talking about, I think like others, I really want a Black Panther because I had an epic backstory sorted for him as well.
Oh,
As,
so you
as
would
you
have shown
probably,
up, Tamati, and you would have played? Oh, that's exciting.
oh
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
oh yeah,
speaking of epic backstory, this is a great transition into the fourth pick, which was the Polynesian delegation. And they chose as their fourth pick Thor. Now, I'll read from the Marvel Wikia, which Thor is the god of thunder, a member of a race known as the Asgardians, a group of humanoid beings from the pocket dimension of Asgard, the realm eternal. Thor is the son of Odin, the All-Father and King of Asgard. He was worshipped by humans, known as Vikings, and became part of Norse mythology. Armed with his enchanted Uru hammer Mjolnir, which helps him to channel the godly energies, he became the mightiest warrior in the Ten Realms. When his irresponsible and impetuous behavior became too much, Odin sent him to Midgard, more commonly known as Earth, as a disabled mortal medical student named Donald Blake, stripped of his memory. After learning humility, he regained his memory as well as his godly powers. Thor went on to become a champion for Midgard, as well as one of the founding members of the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes. Now, Tamati,
yeah.
you gave us the benefit of an amended backstory, which thank you for playing. Thank you for following the rules.
No, thank you.
Why not share with us the backstory in your own words?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I was just about to finish off the last point around the automated picks.
Okay.
Because I was just thinking about it as well. I mean, when I saw that happen with the black team, I mean, I thought, oh, great, they got Black Panther. But then I thought, well, if for some reason we were in the same situation, the Polynesian team, we're very slim pickings as far as our characters that you could draft, have an automated draft
Yeah.
for. So just wanted to kind of make that point.
No, it's a really
about
good
that.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, with Thor, you'll see that it's slightly different from how I've drafted in the past, where I've kind of pretty much recreated their backstory and stuff like that. So in this story, I tried to kind of retain that mythology,
hmm
but basically include them into a different world,
Okay.
basically. And so as the story, the backstory that I created was that he was battling the frost giants in Jotunheim. As the battle went on, the frost giants created a portal which brought them to Midgard.
hmm
And where they actually landed was off the northern coast of New Zealand, Aotearoa, New Zealand, in a place on the west coast called Taranaki, and it's a giant mountain there. And he eventually followed them through the portal and found them already actually battling people here in Aotearoa from a tribe who descends from the Māori god of thunder, lightning, and weather. And so this tribe also has the power of being able to use thunder and lightning as well. So they were fighting the frost giants.
hmm
And so Thor joined them in the battle, fought alongside them. His hammer at one point got knocked from his grasp, and the leader of the tribe, who was a woman, picked up the hammer
hmm
and channeled the powers of her people through it
Okay.
and destroyed the frost giant. And so how that all, and so rather than like I said, recreating Thor's whole backstory, it kind of depicted him as an ally.
Okay. Now I have
An
a couple
ally
questions about that.
to this tribe.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So one of my questions uh, is that allyship and is that connection to um, to the New Zealand people reflected in any way in terms of how he's physically depicted? Um, would he be in any way different
Uh,
from the way he's typically depicted?
it's interesting. That's a good question because I mean, also in the backstory, he was given a title, so basically
hmm
given a new name,
Right.
and that's quite common practice in Polynesian cultures for people who are accepted into a tribe or who become allies, to be given new titles,
Okay.
and recognition of that connection as well. So there's that. I did think about how else he might be depicted, because another common practice is tattooing.
That's what I was.
And now-
That's what I was wondering about. I was wondering whether
Yeah.
he might be allowed to take on a tattoo to indicate that he
God.
has a title.
Oh my God, Thor with tattoos, orgasm. Oh, yes, make it work.
Yeah, the tattooing does happen. It does happen. So again, it comes with, if there's a connection with, an ally and stuff. Often the experts from that tribe would give them a tattoo depicting that event and
Okay.
the connection to those people. So yeah, I did think about that. I thought that it wouldn't be out of question for him to receive that. But just on the point around being an ally as well, it's been something that's been playing on my mind a bit as well, because I guess with all the backstories I've tried to create them as kind of an allegory for what's going on
Mhm.
within our cultures as well. So one of the big things, especially for the indigenous Maori people, is that there's this whole question about whether, so for example, whether colonizers
Mhm.
Can be allies and stuff like that, or whether people from outside of your culture can be an ally.
That's a good question.
As far as helping your culture to thrive and your people to thrive, and they can, but they can be allies, but that means that it's a recognition of power.
Mhm.
It's a recognition that these cultures have their own power, these cultures have their own traditions, and they don't want to be saved. They don't need it. They don't need it. It's the whole white savior thing as well.
Right. Right.
So in the story, I tried to kind of capture that it's actually an allegory for the conversations going on in our culture right now.
And I had one more question. This
Yeah.
one has to do with the Donald Blake persona.
Sure.
Did you imagine a possibility that that his Donald Blake persona might be of Maori descent, in terms of when he's sent to Earth to live as a human man?
Oh no, I didn't actually. But that's a great point. I mean, that could be some another storyline as well. But no, I didn't really think about that.
Do you have a preference one way or the other? I'm just curious.
No,
He's like, yes, both. God.
It could be both. I'd have to think about that.
All right, Arturo, what are your thoughts about the Thor pick?
First off, very striking backstory. Congratulations on that. And on numbers alone, Thor's probably gonna get a lot of play moving, the next year or so. Love and Thunder's coming up, so I imagine Marvel's gonna gear up for that. I do have a question related to the backstory though. The striking moment when the tribal leader, Te Oida, would that be the right way to?
Yeah, very good. Yes.
That led me to wonder. I mean, is there any thought about a fan art depiction of her and her people? Because I came out of that really wanting to see this community see the other half of that link, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be amazing if someone could depict that. I mean, I have a picture in my mind what that might look like. And here's the thing as well. I mean, the tribe that I spoke about is an actual real tribe.
Okay.
And has that. And
I
has
gather,
those
Yeah.
genealogy. So but yeah, fan art would be amazing. Yeah.
And could you one more time give us the title that he was granted by the Maori people? Uh-oh, we're
Sure.
frozen.
He said no.
Say it one more time.
Oh, so it's Te Whaititiri.
Te Whaititiri?
He said fight titty?
Yeah, the personification.
Nice. Now I definitely.
It's the personification of thunder.
Gotcha. Now I definitely wanted to shout you out because I believe you got the highest approval rating of all the picks, with 93.3%. So that's 73.3 strongly approve, 20% somewhat approve, 0% somewhat disapprove, and 6.7 strongly disapprove. Now, I wonder about those strongly disapprove people. They're haters.
I don't wonder about them because they're irrelevant. I feel like, I mean, the only debate here is whether it's long hair Thor with the tattoos or short hair Thor with the tattoos.
And I'll take both.
Right.
Yeah. You'll take the whole Jason Aaron run where there are three Thors, one never mind.
Yes, please.
Now, Shep, do you have any thoughts about the Thor pick?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I do have the only question I have is how do the other pantheon see Thor now as being part of it? Like, does he? I'm not sure how that works religiously. I know you said there's a lot of adoption in there, but like, would he instantly become part of them, or would they be like, is there a role he would fulfill that isn't fulfilled by a similar god of thunder or type?
Yeah, I mean, I think there would be a relationship there between, say, Polynesian gods and I guess the pantheon of the Norse gods as well. It was interesting because someone actually posted on the thread and was just pumped up about seeing, for example, Scandinavian traditions and Maori traditions come together.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing as well. It would be amazing to see those two traditions kind of side by side.
Okay.
You know, see the overlap. And it's interesting too because just coincidentally, I've been reading a little bit about Gore the God Butcher, about how he went through the different pantheons, you know, just killing gods and stuff like that. So what that kind of indicates to me is that, you know, they all coexist, and hey, there might be a relationship between those as well. So yeah.
You know, we've seen in various event series over the past years, I can think of the Infinity Gauntlet, the original one to begin with, that the various heads of each pantheon do meet when things get bad enough.
That's right.
It's the best thing ever. For a mythology nut like myself, I love to see like different, just, you know, different stories that I may not have heard of before, and it's like it's, I don't know, it's sort of special that it's not just, you know, somebody made up a story to like sell a book or whatever, but it's actually something that's near and dear to a culture's heart. That's, you know, it just stands out as being particularly special that way.
Cool. Does anyone else have any thoughts about the amazing Thor pick?
I liked it. I always look forward to reading Tamati's backstories because it's nice when someone actually does include a backstory. But
Say what?
no, yeah, I definitely was one of the ones that strongly approved of it because like if we couldn't get him this year, like I'm glad Tamati got him. Yeah?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, because you guys had Thor. You guys had Thor in season 1.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll snatch him up next season.
And well, since we're talking,
just pass around.
I mean, you can't. Yeah. He's like 3/4 of thought, right? He's like thought. So
I'm just saying, I feel personally attacked by that there, Martin.
And that brings us to the 5th pick, the first pick that was settled by a wild card poll, and that was the Latinx delegation. So democracy made its presence felt as 59.3% of the poll votes, 113 poll votes, which is the most votes than we've ever had. 59.3% for the winner, Batman. An amazing blowout win. It was pretty much settled on the first day, and we just had to watch the stream.
Got more votes than Trump. Huh.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna pick a white man. Yeah, the other poll choices, other receiving votes, as they say, were Superman, Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man, but Batman stunted on everybody with 59.3% of the vote. Take a bow, Latinx delegation. You got your man. The
Oh,
preseason MVP, expected point scoring winner,
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne. Now you
I will
guys,
say that I told the other ones. I think it's funny though that you're getting the brokest version of Batman that exists.
and I'll go ahead and jump into the wiki page. Batman is a superhero protector of Gotham City, a man dressed like a bat who fights against evil and strikes fear into the hearts of criminals everywhere. In his public identity, he is Bruce Wayne, billionaire industrialist and notorious playboy. Although he has no superhuman powers, he's one of the world's smartest men and greatest fighters. His physical prowess and technical ingenuity make him an incredibly dangerous opponent. He is also a founding member of the Justice League. Now, of course,
Mhm.
there is a backstory here that was written by Latinx delegation, and go ahead and say it in your own words.
Yeah, so basically, we took full advantage of the connection that Batman has with Zorro to kind of implement some of that. In that he grew up idolizing him. You know, he's the most famous Hispanic fictional hero, pretty much. So you know, it's the whole comes out of the theater after watching a Zorro movie with his parents. They get gunned down. He devotes himself to vengeance, gets himself to the peak of human physical capabilities and mental capabilities, masters all of these martial arts, really hones in his detective skill and all this other technological skills. Then when he eventually meets up with when he finds the person that murdered his parents, he finds out that it wasn't just like a random mugging. No, this was a purposeful kind of assassination attempt not attempt, successful assassination. He was basically, this guy basically was hired to kill Bruno's parents because they were other Gotham elites that they didn't get along too well with. So it was so they were holding out on some type of deal, and then they get just like, nah, like we're just gonna cut out the middleman and get rid of these two. And that's when he decided, okay, I'm gonna take all the skills that I learned and kind of follow in Zorro's kind of footsteps of having these two different identities.
Mhm.
One is Bruce Wayne, which is that, genius, billionaire, philanthropist, playboy. And then you have Batman, the dark kind of like protector of Gotham, who protects all the people from anyone who is going to try to abuse their power. Very much kind of like Zorro does, because like a lot of Zorro's villains are other people in power.
Right.
So he does whether they are Gotham elite or basically kind of like and then you have all the criminals, all the mob bosses, and then you have just any
penis.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, blah blah blah. He won. He got Batman. I mean,
Oh,
that's
okay.
pretty much what I'm saying.
Salty? Aw,
No, continue.
someone
Reggie,
doesn't like us getting Batman.
Who has two thumbs and doesn't like it? This girl. No, continue, Reggie, and go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, he just becomes, the protector of Gotham, and he's Puerto Rican because it's, as we've kind of established, it's supposed to be like you, Michael, say you can see it being Newark, which actually has a very good like Latinx population, and a good chunk of that is Puerto Rican, and specifically, and this is something I learned when the reason that he's named Bruno Diaz now is that when Batman comics first started getting to like Latin America, there was this whole thing of like trying to make some of these characters more relatable to the people reading them in Latin America. So they would often translate some of their names. In Bruce Wayne's case, it got translated into Bruno Diaz.
Gotcha.
And that was very much the situation until fairly recently that they started finally like just calling him Bruce Wayne again. But yeah, which is kind of funny because in the research I found Bruce Wayne's name got changed. Clark Kent's didn't.
Interesting.
Like, nah, you can keep that.
Very
Which
cool.
is funny.
I guess they said there's no way a white dude in Kansas would have a Hispanic name. They just like.
So
Yeah.
One more thing.
oh,
One more thing. You don't forget the fan casting.
Yeah, we got the fan cast is Adam Rodriguez, who some of you may know either from like CSI Miami, or maybe in Kia's case, maybe like Magic Mike. He was in those movies as well.
I don't
Like-
even need him in Magic Mike. That's like my nighttime, like, before I go to bed type thing. Ow.
But yeah, so he's like this, like 6 foot, like over like 6 foot tall Puerto Rican Cuban guy.
He
He's
is
like,
a drink of water.
he's
To
a
be
good looking
fair,
individual. I'm not gonna lie.
To be fair, I also recognize him from Magic Mike.
Nice, Randy.
There's probably a lot of people that recognize him from Magic Mark. Let's be honest here.
So, who wants to jump in? Arturo, what were your thoughts about the Batman pick?
Well, as you might imagine, I read this one with very piqued interest. Martin, congratulations! Very good backstory. I like the art that got submitted as part of this pick as well. Very smooth variation of the Jim Aparo era Batman, I thought, with the added touch of letting the hair flow, because that's a very Latinx thing to do.
Shout out to Carlos for the fan art.
Yeah, he's another
and-
one of the Latinx delegation members. He did that art.
that just told me he's a Leo. But I also thought this pick was relevant, especially in light of two things. One, Mike, you recall the last time we talked, I made the case for a binational Batman, someone who grew up on this side of the country and had to interact or received American schooling and had to fight that the identity crisis on two fronts, on top of the class-related critiques we've heard and read about Batman in the past. Two, if you've been following a discussion about Selena and the new Netflix show, you can see that there are still a lot of challenges when it comes to not depicting Latinx people as a monolith. Even between here in California and the Texas region where Selena lived, there's geographic differences, there's dialect differences, even in the 8 miles between San Diego and Tijuana where I grew up. When I speak in Spanish, I have a northern accent, and that accent is a lot different than you might hear from a Mexico City native.
Interesting.
Porque chilangos tienen su propio modo de hablar que es muy particular, ¿no?
So you all want me to translate that?
Yes,
I mean,
please.
the listeners
Yes,
may. The
please.
listeners may.
No, I mean chilangos, and that's either a term of endearment or a slur, depending on how you want to use it.
What does it mean?
Mexico, huh?
Both ways.
I'll let one of them explain it. But if you live in Mexico City, you have a different way of speaking.
Okay,
than someone who
now
would
I'm
on.
suspicious. Now I feel like it might mean something.
It is
We'll leave that as an Easter egg. Let the
Yes.
listeners unpack that. But overall, and I think Martin tapped into, there's a kaleidoscope of Latinx experiences, and it's striking that all four of those choices, you could graft one of those stories onto each one of them and make it sing.
I think you're right. That's why the Latinx delegation is in pole position as far as running away with this. But we will see how it plays out.
Martin, let me ask you: had Batman not won or not been part of the poll here, which of the three remaining would have been your first choice?
Wonder Woman. 100% Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially because Linda Carter herself is Mexican.
Yeah,
Uh,
that definitely.
Chilango is used to describe a Mexico City native. Is that
Yep.
is that what that is?
Yep.
Who is generally rude, greedy, and
Kia brought Google to the party.
Some of them, I assume, are good people.
Oh my gosh.
I do want to. Now, when we get to Fantastic Four, I want to revisit this discussion for a very particular reason.
Fair enough.
But we'll put a pin in it.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the approval rating. It was a little controversial because of the poll, I would say. Batman only got a 75% approval rating.
Still a passing
Um,
grade.
with a 57.1% strongly approve, 17.9% somewhat approve, 7.1% somewhat disapprove, and 17.9% strongly disapprove. There's a lot of hateration and holleration this
Yeah.
dancery.
I wonder who here probably voted strongly disapprove.
I have 2 points that I want to bring up here. So
All
first
right,
of
Randy.
all, I very much like the choice because we don't really have. I'm trying to think. Aside from Catwoman, we don't really have any Latinx representation in the Bat family at all, and we
Mhm.
definitely like barely have any Latinx representation in DC generally. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy to have like the most prominent DC character be a Latinx character.
That's
But
because you don't want to
But,
win.
but also it kind of makes me think now that you kind of have to swoop up the Joker and fan cast him as Cesar Romero.
I mean, we don't want you to tip your hand at all. But I know that last year when Arturo and I talked about it, we definitely talked about some of the sort of zoot suit uh, representations of
I,
Joker.
it
Um,
would be like a kind of a slight for the black delegation, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Just saying.
all right. What are some other thoughts? Tamati, what were your thoughts about the Batman pick? Oh,
I
you
might
may
have.
have. You may have. Oh, wait, Tamati.
Hey, yep, I'm still here.
What were your thoughts about Batman pick?
You can't go wrong with Batman. I mean, it's
Apparently,
strong.
for some people, you can't.
Yeah, with some people you can. I mean, I think like most when I saw the characters in the poll, Batman was one that I wanted, and Wonder Woman being the other. So either way, you got really powerful picks. I was really interested to kind of see him depicted as a Latino. So just to see the story that Martin put in is fantastic. So that's great pick.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else with thoughts about Batman beyond mad that he's not in your delegation?
No.
All right.
I thought it was good. I just figured with DC's tracker with the Latino characters, just but now 10% chance that Catwoman gets fridged.
Oh.
That too.
You
Sadly.
bastard.
Oh, that's low. That's low. There are any number of Batman love interests who could get fridged before Catwoman anyway.
Not
Vicky Vale.
inaccurate, but it's low. Yes.
So let's move on to the number
You
6 pick.
bastard.
Unfortunately, another one of our auto drafted picks for the Native American delegation. There were some challenges on their end, but we pressed ahead. They were able to get as far as their auto draft pick, Echo.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of challenges, they're auto.
Oh, I'm not that
I thought you were.
person.
You know what though? I mean, Echo. We're gonna see Echo in an MCU show, so this this could pan out.
Yeah.
It could. So let me go ahead and quote from the wiki. This would be Maya Lopez, aka Echo. Maya was born deaf. Her father, Willie Crazy Horse Lincoln, was working with the kingpin of crime. When she was young, her father was killed by his boss. But ironically, Crazy Horse wanted Fisk to take care of his daughter. As he lay dying, he gave his daughter a bloody handprint over her face. Wilson took Maya to a boarding school for special children because of her disability. There she discovered that she had the talent of instantly memorizing anything and copying the exact same movements of anything she has seen. These are photographic reflexes, much like Taskmaster. Wilson then transferred Maya into another school for prodigies, and there she became a gifted woman. She later became an assassin who was sent after Matt Murdock when Kingpin told her that Matt Murdock, in fact, killed her parents. So, the backstory is going to stay as is. Let's go ahead and see what the approval rating for this pick ended up being. it was they 90%, 91% approval rating for this pick. That would be, I'm sorry, 90.9 if I'm being clear. 36.4 strongly approve, 54.5 somewhat approve, 0% somewhat disapprove, and 9.1 strongly disapprove.
The math nerd listeners got you shook, huh? They got you real nervous about the numbers.
What happened?
No, I was saying the math nerd listeners got you shook. They got you. You want to be precise about the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want that 0.1% to come back to haunt me in the form of fan mail. We have been joined by our Fantasy Comics League guru. Perhaps he can run us through, from a Fantasy Comics League perspective, what he thinks about the Echo pick.
I mean, from a kind of Fantasy Comic League perspective, yeah, you done messed up. Echo hasn't done anything for like 3 years. She is not the most prominent native character.
Wait, time out. So are you saying that he didn't do for the native delegation what he did for the black delegation?
For the black delegation, but he was the best of the options I left you guys.
You're not gonna let that go, are you, Kia?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, I mean, you could have gave the black delegation Echo, huh? Why couldn't you give the native delegation Black Panther?
Well, Shaun, in terms of native characters, who have been top performers the past, let's say, year or two?
That's a good question.
It's been Forge and Mirage. Let me open
Mike.
Wait,
But
what?
I would say Danny Moonstar. Danny Moonstar is probably the most prominent native character.
Ooh, Danny.
Oh, but it's weird that he wasn't picked.
Either
Danny is a girl.
or maybe Warpath.
She wasn't picked.
How was Warpath doing?
Warpath is not doing great. He hasn't appeared in anything. He's about to appear in New Mutants, but we literally put his first appearance in, I think, like 5 weeks ago or something. Like, he didn't appear for the majority of the year.
Oh, wow.
Now, if I may defend myself,
Nope, not at all.
in the most recent Marvel voices, indigenous voices, Echo was both a cover featured character and in a featured story alongside, I believe, Captain Marvel. She also has an MCU project that is about to be released. She is about to be featured in a prominent role in live action. We went over her casting last week. So I think that big things are planned for Echo. And if we're comparing Echo to some of the other Native American characters, we're not really talking about A-list characters.
I would say the only one that has a book is Danny.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Not as a solo character, though, as part of a gigantic ensemble.
There are don't they kind of flip back and forth between like Danny's team, her people, and then the other team, which is like other mutants?
They did that when Hickman was co-writing, but Hickman hasn't been co-writing for a while.
So, Shaun, when was the last time that Danny appeared in a book?
I'm opening the document right now. Give me one second.
Well, Shaun is looking at that. I do want to point out Forge does appear in Stephanie Williams' Living Heroes.
Oh, Forge! How exciting!
So is Wyatt Wingfoot. So 2 native heroes in there.
Oh yes, Wyatt.
But I just want to mention that because Living Heroes is such a fun read. Do recommend.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. I submitted to the Kickstarter for Living Heroes as well. Shout out to Stephanie Williams. Hopefully, she'll be a future guest on the show. Yeah, it was definitely a fun read.
I guess we're just like kind of on this role of how much more we need to see of native characters, and I mean, I guess this is a good time to bring up my grievance of one of the few things that I'm actually kind of bothered by in Dawn of X, that basically we have not seen Thunderbird brought back at all.
This is true.
I would very much, because he's been gone for decades, and he was like the first casualty of the X-Men, and basically he was like, essentially when you read his backstory, you hear that basically he was just brought in to be killed off for like the emotional gravitas to like set a new tone for the X-Men. And it's like, wow, really? So
Right.
A pioneer of the fridge.
Pioneer of the fridge. You would think that he would be one of the first people that Xavier would want to bring back as a
right,
good.
exactly. Especially given the fact that you so highly value Warpath as like part of the X-Force team or whatever, but he should be, that he should be, the family members of the prominent mutant heroes or whatever should kind of have a say in who gets brought back or whatever. That's what I thought anyway.
I agree. Hey Shaun, since you joined us a little bit late, can we get your quick one sentence thoughts of the first 5 picks?
Throw them at me.
Excuse me?
Throw them at me. I don't know them.
Sure.
Off the top of my head.
One sentence for Captain America. For the
Strong.
Asian delegation.
Strong. Very strong.
All right. One sentence for Wolverine for the multiracial delegation.
The one you wanted this round. Best pick of the round.
Okay. One sentence for Black Panther for the Black delegation.
The best I left you.
Charity work. Oh, sorry.
Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was Shaun's turn to speak.
Sorry, Shaun. Sorry.
And one sentence for Thor.
Another strong pick.
And of course, one sentence for Batman.
I need to mute myself. Fuck this shit.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry, Shaun. I didn't hear what you had to say about Batman.
I choose not to speak at this time.
What did you say?
I'm listening.
I think that means he's left speechless. So,
Strongly disapprove.
so this is as good a time as any to transition into the 7th pick, which was another poll. And this was the white delegation's poll. Shaun, you can speak to us about the razor thin poll.
Hey, Martine.
What?
Fuck you guys. I brought 46 people in on the last day. Since Tuesday, I organized all my friends. I was like, I need you guys to vote on Friday. I don't want them to know that I'm just going to fucking pull ahead and take this thing. I want Wonder Woman. All my friends were like, yeah, man, we got you. My grandparents, I made them Twitter accounts. My brother, I made him a Twitter account. I had secret votes to the last minute. Like, at one point, I was like, okay, I've got a couple ahead right now. Grandma, I'm gonna make your Twitter account after supper. That way, it doesn't just suddenly pull ahead again. All day, I fucking fought tooth and nail. Fuck.
So, with 140 votes cast, and the final of 45.7% to 45%. The winner of the poll for the white delegation, Vic Stone, aka Cyborg. Second place, Diana, aka Wonder Woman, by the thinnest of margins. Someone's grandmother let them down.
Watch, that's going to show up on TikTok.
Others
you tried to
receive-
gerrymander the poll. Good on you.
Shaun brought in the Russian troll farm. Like
at one point, I didn't ask any of my diverse
These
friends.
Russian bots.
I was like, I'm just gonna win this with the fucking whites. I got like 35 white friends. I don't need to ask anybody else. And then my last minute secret poll with my comic book artist, because we were working together at the time, and she's Hispanic and she's First Nations. And so she's like, I'm voting for this, but I kind of don't want you to win. And 2 minutes later, I was like, well, you got the fucking whistle list, huh?
Shout out to Storm, who is clearly the Jill Stein of this election.
He
With
got like 20 votes.
6.4% of the vote.
Shout out to Shaun's fans in Macedonia listening tonight.
45.7% for Cyborg. Let's go ahead and talk about the side.
Hold on. Pause. Does Bishop count as a native character?
Bishop is both black and also indigenous.
Would
Australian
he count
indigenous.
for the native delegation?
We've established this.
I think so. Yeah. Right.
He would be the number one pick. He has 39 points. He comes in at 68th place.
Interesting.
Good to know.
But Bishop isn't Native American.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's indigenous, but indigenous to Australia. So.
Right.
Wait, wouldn't that count? No, never mind. Go ahead, proceed. Sorry.
It's all right. So this is a quick backstory. Victor Stone is cyborg, kept alive by Prometheum. Oh, sorry. This is the Victor Stone original origin. Kept alive by Prometheum plating and cybernetic enhancements. He feared becoming an outcast until he found a new family, the Teen Titans. But we know that Victor Stone, because of DC's shenanigans,
Foolery.
because of their tomfoolery, has another origin. And let me pull that one up. Alternate universes, people. Alternate
While you're
universes.
pulling that up, Mirage comes in at 88th for Marvel only. And she has 32 points. She had 13 appearances thus far this year.
And when was her last appearance?
2 weeks ago.
All right.
Yeah, but how like I mean you can't really I mean how well can you predict her future appearances though?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you kind of can, but not really.
So Cyborg, also known as Victor Stone, is a superhero who's half man and half machine. His body was destroyed in a tragic accident, but he was saved through experimental technology. Most of his body parts have been replaced with cybernetic ones, which grant him access to a large arsenal of high-tech gadgets and weaponry, while also providing life support. Stone struggles with his humanity as a machine, although his enhancements have made him incredibly powerful. He's primarily a member of the Teen Titans in the New Earth continuity, but in the Prime Earth continuity, he's a founding member of the Justice League. Cyborg was created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, first appearing in DC Comics Presents 26 in 1980. Now, Shaun, you had an amended backstory. Why don't you give it to us in your own words?
Okay. I mean, simply said, first off, his name is Leviticus, because gotta do everything I can to ruin this for you. His name is also spelled wrong because white people. I made a backstory for him where he's basically like, he kind of is not great at football despite being the QB. So his parents are like, hey, you need to do something else with your life. Go volunteer with the church. And the church he ends up volunteering with is the Church of Blood. And then he gets turned into Cyborg. And his mom dies and he pushes his dad away. And the way I left it is he's just going to join the Church of Blood. Now you can assume the Teen Titans and all that could come. Or you could just leave him as an acolyte of the Church of Blood, which is what I'm kind of doing right now.
Well, I mean, you don't have to assassinate the man's character just because you made him white. You took away his athleticism, which was already going to happen by making him white.
Are you saying he's pathetic?
I want to commend Shaun on a couple of brave choices here. One, a white man in tech is not a villain. Two, the most sci-fi thing is the white parents wouldn't push their QB son to keep playing.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been Team Tebow. He could have been Holy Roller.
Blake Bortles.
That kind of does break my ability to kind of suspend disbelief, because like the parents are like they're really gonna tell their child, sorry, my white male child, you are mediocre. Perhaps pursue something else.
That is a good point, Randy. That's a really good point. That is breaking our suspension of disbelief that a white parent would tell their white male child that he could not succeed despite being mediocre. These are all marks against him.
But
So-
joining the church and being a religious fanatic.
Why couldn't you given me Wonder Woman and kept Cyborg, and this wouldn't be a problem? I don't know what to tell you guys.
I don't know.
I'm
It was
victim.
like what, 1 vote or something?
Could have been. Could have come
Think
down
so.
to 1 vote.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened.
it was definitely single digit. but to be fair, you got the like of my top 5 who I still believe are like the most prominent and most likely to show up. You got the most expendable one, so thank you for that.
And isn't Cyborg of the African American DC characters? Is he not number 2, the number
Yes.
2 scoring one?
Yes.
No, he's number 1. He beats John by 2 positions.
Wow. So
Oh,
That's why I put Cyborg and not John.
So I mean, the fact that you feel like it's some kind of loss that you whitewashed the best DC black character.
had 72 points. Wonder Woman just broke 300.
well,
That's a little bit of a loss.
I think of those top most prominent black characters, I almost feel like this version of Vic is the mediocre white boy of the black picks because
I
he's
mean,
like
yeah.
no, but he's, not he's being pushed as a character, but they don't really know what to do with him. And they
Correct.
kind of sort of, have him a little bit of here, a little bit of there, and not really. But we got to make sure we see his face, though. Got to make sure we see him use his powers. He's really cool, right? Isn't he great? Isn't he wonderful? And then he ends up getting voted out of the black delegation.
I do want to ask.
Cyborg is all lives matters, pretty much.
Yeah. Accountability over entertainment.
I do want to ask.
Yes.
Cyborg is in the 3rd team if you count the TV offerings. He is in the Doom Patrol.
That is true.
Right,
If you
right,
count the
exactly.
TV offerings, he has the Doom Patrol as an opportunity to score points.
Right.
There-
Exactly. That's-
And I
Depending
also
on
get
when the
the
Snyder Cut movie comes out, he may get some points in that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's a good scorer. As to the quality that remains to be seen outside of Doom Patrol, but yeah.
Like Martine said last week, I had no bad choices, but one of them was a god, and the other 3 were amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I do want to ask. I mean, would a white cyborg work off of Bitcoin? Would hearing be a microtransaction?
White Cyborg is definitely both a dude bro and a tech bro.
Oh gosh.
All of his powers locked behind the paywall.
Right.
I can troll you at the speed of light about the wonderfulness of the Snyder Cut.
He is selling you the Booyah app.
Who are prominent Native American DC characters?
I was going to ask you that.
And I'm in like the top 100, and I haven't seen one yet.
Nice try. That's a trick question. There are none.
I mean,
They don't exist. There's none.
You'll make
Yeah.
more points off Super
No,
Sheep
but-
running
but
reruns on Cartoon.
I'm not even saying that.
Oh,
as like
wait. I
praise
just wait.
but-
Dawn Star.
Right. Exactly. I rest my case.
Well, I mean, there's Apache Chief if you count.
Are we-
Space Ghost.
Are we
Coast to
counting?
Coast.
Are we
I
counting the
readily-
cartoons?
I
The
readily
the
rest my
Super
case.
Friends?
There are none. Period. DC sucks at it. They suck at diversity. That's why I haven't That's why I had exactly 2 black choices potentially from DC. That's it. Everybody else over from DC that I was like, who I could potentially choose are not black or not brown. They're white people basically.
Well,
They
I
are.
think karmically, given the amount of times that Shaun has tried to target the black delegation, I think it's right that he get the black character that the poison pill, if you will.
I still wish your monkey's paw. You got a couple more wishes.
And we-
Cyborg is the bishop of DC Universe.
And
there
we
is
may as
one
well mention
character that is Native American, I think. No, not Native American, just indigenous. Fuerza, who's part of the Flash family.
Oh my gosh.
She's got 2 appearances. No, 1 appearance is 2 points.
Who's Fluenza?
She's like introducing Josh Williamson's run. She's a really recent character.
Oh, okay.
So in terms of approval rating, as you can imagine, very polarizing, with a 55.5% approval rating, the lowest of any of the picks this round. 44.4% strongly approve, 11.1% somewhat approve, and 44.4 somewhat disapprove, with 0 strongly approve. You know, it fits the mediocrity of the white man has already infected Cyborg like a mother box, if you will. Any other thoughts about White Cyborg?
I have one. Can I get a bonus point when the Ray Fisher thing concludes?
Oh, you mean I
It's
think
concluded.
I mean
It's
it's
concluded, yeah.
appearing in the Snyder cut. That's going to be your bonus point.
No. I was joking about the whole allegations. against
Oh, I know.
Gotham.
I mean,
Okay.
who knows? Maybe they will approve a Cyborg Disney Plus. I mean, sorry, a Cyborg HBO Max show.
That would be crazy.
A Cyborg
That's
HBO Max show might happen.
Do it.
I'm just see now you got my mind messed up. I'm like imagining Cyborg showing up in Armor Wars and stuff. I'm just like, okay, that's bad. It's not going to happen.
No, maybe the remedial action is that Cyborg will get an appearance in a future movie, and you'll definitely get a point for the announcement that he's going to be in a future movie. So
He's like, I never said what movie. He's going to show up in the Avengers.
he's gonna show up in the Suicide Squad, and you'll be like, "What? Why is Cyborg in the Suicide Squad?"
I mean,
I'll kill
You
him
can
off
kind
just like
of do it
Slipknot in the
together
first
there.
scene. He just dies.
Exactly. It'll be digitally edited into the movie just to die. But let's move on to the number 8 pick. Right? That's what we're up to. Number 8 pick. The Jewish delegation.
Mhm.
They selected Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk.
Well, the first Hulk.
They had She-Hulk last time, right?
They did have She-Hulk the first time
Yep.
out. This time they went with He-Hulk. Dr. Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, is an American theoretical physicist famed for his work into the studies of nuclear physics and gamma radiation. He was recruited by General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross and the U.S. Army to develop the first gamma bomb. During its first live test, he was bombarded with a massive dose of gamma rays while saving Rick Jones, a kid who was out on the test site. He was mutated into a green behemoth, the living personification of rage, fueled by pure physical strength, and would come to be known as the nearly mindless Incredible Hulk. Fearful of the damage that Hulk would inflict, as well as fleeing from the military, he went on the run. He later found a home among the Avengers, the Earth's mightiest heroes, for a short time. And they did not submit an amended backstory, so we are left to our own devices to imagine what changes, if any, might be wrought for the Jewish Bruce Banner.
I mean, what is he celebrating Hanukkah? I mean, I don't know. Like, that was kind of like a weird pick for me. Like, I just, like, the Hulk is there to just destroy shit. So, like, what's
I
he
mean-
doing as a Jew? Like,
I mean, as someone who grew up in a Jewish family, what are the kinds of things that make Jewish people angry?
I'm not touching that.
not winning the Afikomen when it's hidden. Let's see. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I feel like Jewish people aren't really like destructive, and I feel like the Hulk is like fuck all your shit up. Like I feel like the Jewish people as a whole are kind of passive.
Maybe just because society is like incredibly anti-Semitic. Just like they just are like
Are they, though?
really. I mean, maybe not quite as bad as some other marginalized groups. I don't know, but
I mean, there is some anti-Semitism in different places, but overall, I mean, I think the Jews have come a very long way, and they've kind of landed on their feet, and they're pretty much in every corner of the world where, you know, money is to be made. And like, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. I just feel like,
I still think that Bruce Banner, being puny and not very good looking, and
whoa,
you know, kind of a know-it-all,
bro,
like
are you saying that
is
that's a Jewish trait? What?
no,
Not
no,
being
no.
good
I'm saying
looking?
that that's a Bruce Banner trait. I think that he's got, you know, he might have a chip on his shoulder. You know, I mean, I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility to imagine a Jewish man with a chip on his shoulder who thinks of himself in a highly, you know, inflated light, who might have some challenges thrown his way and might have some rage issues. I think that that's possible, right? No?
I mean,
I don't know. I feel like the Jewish people are quite passive. Like, you know, they're like, turn the other cheek.
Oh man,
when I heard the choice,
you better look at Israel before you go to that area.
well, when I heard the
Israeli
choice,
Jews are totally different
I
in the
didn't-
pot. What? Okay, I'm sorry.
no,
Sorry.
this is saying I didn't really have like a particular thing that came to mind that made me think, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I did actually have him as one of my potential choices. So
For the black
when I-
delegation?
I did.
I mean, is he just going to be the Hulk all the time? I mean, you can't be black and turn into a monster every time you get angry, dude.
Mhm.
Right, because that would have kind of added, like, you know, another layer of just how much in control he has to be of his emotions and all this other stuff. So I felt like it could have been a good pick for the black delegation, and I guess just my kudos to them for picking him so early.
I mean, guess what though? Crazy thing, Randy, you guys could have picked him.
You had 12 hours to put a pick in. Now, Shaun, from an FCL perspective, give us our breakdown of the Hulk.
First off, Black Panther is 2 points, 2 positions ahead of the Hulk. So yeah, you guys still kind of won. Hulk is sitting at number 19 overall, which is 13 positions better than She-Hulk. So they're moving on up in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got 110 points. Not bad. Pretty solid.
Yeah. I do want to chime in a little bit, and something that I've witnessed with progressive Jewish friends is that in the current climate, you've got people like Stephen Miller and Ben Shapiro and other right-wing figures, you want to put it as may want to put it, who will intimate that any criticism of their own policies or of Prime Minister Netanyahu's policies as anti-Semitic or anti-Israel in general. So I think there are more flavors of anti-Semitism currently than people might have gotten on the radar in the, you know, even a few years ago. So I don't feel comfortable speaking to the experience as a whole, but I do want to chime in for stuff that I witness, people who I follow and are Jewish and what they're fighting.
Right.
I don't know if I can root for a Hulk that is Ben Shapiro in his human form. Sorry.
I mean, Bruce Banner's an asshole, guys. I would almost, that'd be a flex. It'd be a wild flex. But Ben Shapiro, in particular, if he had a Hulk at his disposal, you know, based on some of the conflicts that he's gotten into online, you know, he'd be hulking out quite a bit.
Life should be.
Wait, if
Anyway,
if the black delegation got the Hulk, would it be like Chris Brown?
Oh, party foul. That is
to bring it back to something more wholesome. Shaun, you know, you mentioned where the Hulk standing is currently, but with the new show coming up, or should players be looking to pick up She-Hulk within the next season or two?
That's what I'm thinking.
My logic was at the beginning of this year, if you had asked me who to bet on, She-Hulk or Hulk, I would have been She-Hulk. She's on the Avengers. She appears in things. And I think she had a mini series.
It was a one shot.
Yeah.
It was a one shot.
That was it. Yeah.
With Immortal Hulk. And Al Ewing was doing Empire. So there was a good chance She-Hulk was going to get pulled into that, which she did.
Yeah.
But Hulk has just had so many one shots and just little things tied into the Immortal Hulk, which has been double shipping.
Yep.
Hulk
It's
is
one of Marvel's top books, I think, in terms of sales, right?
Hmm.
I
so
know
the
for
Hulk
a
is
while it
actually-
was.
I would still bank on She-Hulk, but Hulk has consistently beat her.
There you have it. From a fantasy comics league, Hulk is still one of the characters that you want to see. And that brings us to the ninth. And wait, did I say the approval rating for? I did not say the
No,
approval
you did.
rating for
No.
the pick. The approval rating for the pick is 87.5%, which is 75% strongly approve, 12.5 somewhat approve, 6.3% somewhat disapprove, and a 6.3% strongly disapprove. Very strong number, 87.5. Um, you know, I personally thought it was a very strong pick, and I personally would have loved to hear the backstory, and hopefully they'll submit a backstory this coming week, and we'll go back and revisit it in the next show.
Yep.
So let's press ahead to the last pick of the first round from our brand new delegation, our friends in the South Asian delegation. They chose, drum roll, Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme.
Get that strange.
Let me go ahead and read from the Wikia. Dr. Stephen Strange, MD, aka Doctor Strange, was the Sorcerer Supreme for Earth 616. Strange was once a brilliant but arrogant neurosurgeon until a car accident crippled his hands. When modern medicine failed him, he embarked on a journey to Kamartaj in Tibet, where he was trained by the Ancient One. He healed his hands and learned more about magic, eventually becoming a master of the mystic arts. He is settled in the Sanctum Sanctorum in Greenwich Village, New York City, becoming Earth's protector from any mystical threat. Unfortunately, the South Asian delegation did not give us a backstory, despite their promises to do so. So we are again left to our own devices to imagine what the South Asian Doctor Stephen
That's
Strange might
disappointing.
be.
Because
Very
I have seen
disappointing.
plenty of people calling for a South Asian Doctor Strange, even in the movies.
Yeah.
I know. You know, and you know there are a lot of South Asian doctors, and
Yeah.
it would not be hard to imagine that one of the most gifted surgeons in the world is South Asian. So disappointment, shaking my finger in disappointment at the South Asian delegation. Do better. But
Like one of my fan castings for him is Sendil Ramamurthy
okay,
from Heroes.
I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's played a doctor on a number of occasions. He's a good-looking dude, so you can definitely imagine him, you know, smashing it down like Doctor Strange is known for doing. You know, I see it. I could see it. We'll have to wait from South Asian delegation to see if they have a fan casting. But until that
Sindel
time, he'll be
Ramamurthy.
our
That accent.
placeholder fan casting. What did you say, Randy?
No, I was just saying, I just kind of like drifted off like Homer, just thinking about a donut, like Sindel Ramamurthy, that accent. Ah.
Nice. All right, we'll direct you to Tumblr for more mock-ups of Sunil Ramamurthy getting some strange. And in terms of approval rating, it was 88.9% approval, 72.2 strongly approve, 16.7 somewhat approve, 0% somewhat disapprove, and 11.1% strongly disapprove, and I strongly disapprove of their strong disapproval. How about that?
Yeah, who was hating on them? I mean, like,
Right. There could have not been any mistake with getting a brown man in place of the white guy for Stephen Strange. There's no downside to that at all.
None. I agree. Shaun, what is the Fantasy Comics League perspective on Doctor Strange?
So I'm just gonna bleed into this. Of the top 5, 3 were picked. Number 5 in the top 5 is Captain America. Number 4 in the top 5 is Wolverine. Number 3 is Stephen Strange, and the top 2 have not been picked yet.
Wow.
I take it
Okay.
back. Wolverine was not the pick of the round. Stephen Strange was.
Look at that, people.
So
You know,
wait, are you saying that Wolverine was not the pick and Stephen Strange was?
Yeah, Doctor Strange has killed it this year.
You're taking it back?
And I mean, he's not going to go away anytime soon. His movie is coming next year or the year after.
Year
the
after.
year after, yeah,
Yeah,
And
the
that's
year
going to
after
be
is
like
not gonna
the
be Game of
linchpin, I think,
Thrones.
for what's coming next.
right.
But even
And he's going to
before
appear
that,
in Spider-Man.
right, and even before that, he's never been like a character that shows up nowhere. He always finds a place somewhere.
This is true. And he has
He is
Strange
Marvel's
Academy.
Magic.
Yeah, exactly. Strange Academy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be around. There was something I wanted to say, and I lost the train of thought. Sorry, guys. Oh, I remember now. You know, just goes to show that you can draft out of the 9 spot and still come out with one of the picks, if not the pick of the round.
Yeah.
And they have the first pick of this round.
And they have the first pick of the second round.
They're in
You
the
know?
position we were last year.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
mean, it's good to have that last position. Too
I
bad, you
I know.
know, I'm gonna save it up.
Doesn't that mean that the polls come first, though?
Well, you know, the wild card poll does
Yeah,
play around a little bit with the draft order. It does, but
I know. And only the guests can
theoretically,
do polls this week.
if their pick is not represented in the poll, they can get the character they want with no interference.
I'm just leading you into the poll because I do believe I got the wild card this time.
Well, we are holding off on poll discussion.
There's
We're-
so many of us. Is Tamati still here? Yeah.
Yes, we're holding off on poll discussion. We're actually going to talk about some the past week in nerd news.
Very weak nerd.
It was a big week. It was a big week in nerd news, particularly if you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As you know, Disney had its investor call, which went for a whopping 4 hours, and in that 4-hour call, they announced a total of over 100 projects, both on the big screen and on the small screen, on the streaming screen, as it were. We're going to talk about some of those projects that came out over the course of the investor day. I'll dive right in, and maybe you guys can tell me which announcement from the investor call was the most exciting, just of the Marvel stuff. Sorry, let me clarify. I'll start with you, Martine.
The roadie thing, Armor Wars, at least.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Armor
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
There's going to be an Armor Wars streaming series. That's there.
Yeah, that was the one I kind of enjoyed the most because it is like give Rhodey his due, you know, like
Right.
like, and so I'm really looking forward to that specifically. And Riri Williams is going to show up in that too, right?
That was not confirmed.
So,
That was not confirmed. She is getting her own show, but there's a good chance
Yeah,
that those things will tie in. I mean, she is Armor, and there will be an Armor War. I feel like it was a
it
good,
fits.
good idea.
Yeah.
What about you, Tamati?
For me, it was the Doctor Strange film, Into the Multiverse.
Okay. The Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness, yeah. And mainly and also the What If series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the What
Disney
If
Plus.
the What If trailer was very good.
Yeah, so those two for me.
What about you, Arturo? What were your highlights?
A couple things. One, finally getting that Fantastic Four confirmation. I think
Yeah.
you've got a lot of fans out there been waiting a long time for this. Martin, I'm also gonna prevail on you. I need a Chilango rich boy Doctor Doom, please. Just an utterly debauched, faux English speaking goon. And that's different from a discussion I had with the great Charlotte Eaton about what if Markovia was a Central American country and not European. We've got the stuffy Euro and Zemo.
You mean Latveria? You mean?
Latveria, thank you. Latveria. Sorry, Zemo. We've got the stuffy Euro and Zemo from Markovia. It's time for a new vision for Doctor Doom. I think the announcement we didn't get piqued my interest. Still no word on the mutants.
Still no word on the mutants. I'm fine with that. I think that there's so much they could do in the next couple phases that, you know, when they finally decide to announce the mutants, the mutants might take over the MCU in terms of the explosion of projects that might come from them. So I'm actually fine that they're that they have not been announced. I do think that there may be some seeds being sown for the mutants in the Eternals movie, but I liked their restraint in that respect, especially because it puts a lot of attention on the Fantastic Four as the sort of prime Fox project that should get a lot of attention in the next couple years. Particularly, a lot of people have been throwing around fan castings for the Fantastic Four. Obviously, we at the racial draft, we're in favor of a lot of race bending. Hopefully, we'll get some of these Fantastic Four characters race bent. But stay tuned, right? Randy, what were your highlights from the Disney call?
Well, just let me see, because WandaVision, of course, is the thing that I'm kind of waiting for. I would say above all, just because
just over a month away.
We're getting right, exactly. Is the nearest project, and also it's going to give us our look at the introduction of Monica Rambeau.
Gotcha.
And it's going to be the first seeds that we're getting sown for the Young Avengers. We're going to get Billy and Tommy. That's Wiccan and Speed.
Right.
So they're going to be showing up, and it's very exciting just to imagine what all threads will kind of come forth from that. And I have that same feeling about Multiverse of Madness. So that's,
What about you, Shaun? What were your highlights from the investor call?
First off, happy belated Kate Bishop Day, December 8th, when Haley Steinfeld got announced in the Kate Bishop Day DLC drop. For me, the thing that impressed me the most was Loki, because it was not on my radar at all.
Shut up! You took my thing. Oh.
And then secondly, I want to make a prediction. Secret Invasion, the Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn thing, it's going to be a Thunderbolt project. That's what I'm predicting.
Oh, so you think that they're lying?
No. I'm saying it's going to be them with the Thunderbolts. Because they're building the Thunderbolts right now, and we don't know anything about the cast outside of Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn. And if you were to do a Secret Invasion movie, Fury would very likely turn to people not in the inner circle. Form his own circle. So we'd either get Secret Warriors or Thunderbolts. And I think because we've already seen Secret Warriors on the Jeff Loeb side, they're going to do Thunderbolts.
That's very interesting, because I actually was thinking that that Thunderbolts might come out of
Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was my thought process.
There, but it won't be a full Thunderbolt. I'm saying the Thunderbolt project, where like the team is together and doing shit.
Right.
Secret Invasion.
That's a good call. I wouldn't have expected that.
Like I said, I think they'll sow some seeds for the Thunderbolts in the Black Widow movie. I think that Yelena Belova will probably start off affiliated with that organization. I think. What did you say?
Or possibly have Taskmaster on the team.
Or possibly have Taskmaster on the team. And I think that they, depending on how, obviously the rumor is at this point that Falcon and Winter Soldier will drop before Black Widow. So you won't see anything that will spoil, I would say if it was dropping after Black Widow, you might see Taskmaster pop up there. But because of the time frame, because of how it's time to release, I don't think you'll see Taskmaster on that show. But I do think those two projects in particular will feed into the concept of the Thunderbolts. Now, as far as the Secret Invasion show, one thing that I was thinking about is we don't know how far back this Skrull infiltration goes. I think we might see a bit of retconning with regard to certain things that happened in the history of the MCU where the Skrulls might have been involved. I could see Nick Fury kind of going back through those stories, perhaps even before, between the time that we saw him at the beginning of his tenure as the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. after Captain Marvel. who knows if he might have been setting the seeds for Sword even back then. You know, we know that in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man, he's out there in space. We know he has been working with those good scrolls from Captain Marvel. So, I mean, to what extent was he able to reconnect with them? Is this something that happened after the Thanos snap? Is this something that happened before the Thanos snap? You know, I think that there's a lot of ground that could be covered in the Secret Invasion show, and it is one of the things that I'm looking forward to. But because I know that we're still a ways off on it, it wasn't my highlight. I would probably say my highlight was also the trailer for Loki. You know, I think that was going under a lot of people's radars, and I think I like the way it pops. I like, you know, obviously Tom Hiddleston is a charismatic dude, and you know, seeing him kind of with a wink pop into these situations, and really we don't know where it's gonna go. All the the rule book seems to be completely thrown out. You know, maybe it involves time travel, maybe it involves the multiverse, maybe it involves multiple versions of Loki. You know, anything's, as we like to say on the show, all things are possible, and all things might be possible in the Loki show. Kia, what were your thoughts about the Loki show?
I was just really excited because I mean it's Loki. I mean, ooh, it's Loki. I mean, oh, I can't breathe. But also, I don't want to forget about WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision, aka Scarlet Witch. I'm surprised Tamati didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, and
if I could just quickly kind of oh, sorry, I was about to
go
say,
ahead, Randy. Go ahead.
In reference, yeah, I was just about to say in reference to Loki, I kind of just had a quick. I don't even really know if it's actually confirmed or whatever, but just there was one panel that you quickly kind of see that they, you know, toward the end of the trailer where it's purple shaded, and it's like this woman is sitting on like this thing, and people are kind of thinking like, oh, we're gonna get a look at Black Widow. Is it looking back at Natasha? And I'm like, frankly, that gives me heavy Clea vibes. I'm thinking that's gonna give us an introduction of Clea for her to show up in the Doctor Strange movie. And I hope I'm right, because if not, that's sort of a wasted opportunity as far as magic users go.
You have to admit that seeing Natasha would be awkward in that show. On that show, one small bit of trivia that popped up. So Loki shot in Atlanta, right? The scene from the trailer with the long elevator going down.
Yeah, the Marriott, right?
Yep, that was the Marriott, and every Dragon Con group I was in just lit up with that photo.
Now, do you have it now, Arturo? Do you have any thoughts about whether the buttons on the elevator have any particular significance?
I'm sure they will. I couldn't quite read through it yet. I like the thought of Clea being involved. But I'm more tripped out that they're apparently going to make him DB Cooper.
Yes, I noticed that.
Oh, and also another quick observation. In WandaVision, the nosy neighbor, a lot of people are speculating that she's going to end up being Agatha Harkness. And again, another magic user that I'm really ready to see. I guess y'all can kind of tell by now, I'm really ready for Doctor Strange. Multiverse of Madness. I really want to see that come to. Yeah, I'm really ready for that.
All right. So let me run down some of the other things in case we might have missed some. You know, we had the second trailer for WandaVision. We had some more news about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We had the official announcement that say it again for me, Martine.
Okay, so last time I was here, I pronounced it in Nahuatl, which is the Aztec language, which is how it's supposed to be, which is Xochitl. But Spanish comes around and changes it a little, so it's really just Sochi.
You're welcome.
All right.
Oh.
What?
So Xochitl Gomez will be playing America Chavez. Rachel McAdams is going to return as Christine Palmer. And Sam Raimi was officially confirmed as the director for Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, which I don't have. I will get to the release dates for that, but as of yet, I don't have it in front of me. There was also the Falcon and Winter Soldier first look trailer, which blew me away, particularly when he just stunted on us with the falconry, flying between mountains ranges.
Yeah.
And the banter was on point, as
Mhm.
always, between Sam and Bucky. There was the first Loki trailer, the What If first look trailer, which
Mhm.
looked stunning. I can't wait. I mean,
Yeah.
rest in peace again to Chadwick
Yeah.
Boseman, but he's
Yeah.
still doing the voice of the character that I've decided to dub Star Chala, um, the Wakandan Star Lord, and there's going to be a lot of alternate timelines going on there. There was, of course, the Ms. Marvel sizzle reel and the official announcement of Iman Vellani taking on the role of Kamala Khan.
Mhm.
And that series is going to drop in late 2021, which means we're potentially less than a year away from seeing Ms.
Unless
Marvel.
decides otherwise.
Excuse me?
No, I just was saying unless Rona decides otherwise for
Ah,
some reason.
yes. Yeah, Rona permitting, of course. It was also confirmed that Ms. Marvel will appear in Captain Marvel 2, as well as Monica Rambeau, which is going.
Yep.
Captain Marvel 2 officially will be directed by Nia DaCosta, she of Candyman fame, which a little bit less fame because Candyman hasn't come out yet. But black woman directing Captain Marvel 2,
That's
big
what I was
fan.
most excited about.
What else? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings the cast was confirmed. So
You're
that's
mispronouncing that. I just learned that.
Yeah.
today.
yeah. So that's a
Shang-Chi.
oh yes yes. Everybody say it with me. Shang-Chi.
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 That's
Shang-Chi.
gonna be my next Sean related pun on Twitter.
Oh,
Sean
God.
Shang-Chi. I like that. I like that. That actually works. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has Tony Leung as Wenwu, aka the Mandarin, the real Mandarin.
Yes.
Aquafina as Katie, Michelle Yeoh as Yang Nan. There will also be undisclosed roles for Fala Chen, Mangur Zhang, Florian Muntel, and Ronnie Chang. Big Ronnie Chang fan over here. And that's confirmed to premiere on July 9th, 2021.
My
She-Hulk.
birthday.
She-Hulk had a confirmed casting for Tatiana Maslany in the title role. Mark Ruffalo will appear, as well as Tim Roth reprising his role as the Abomination. Yes, and that
The
will be
Thunderbolts are coming.
because
Come
and also directed by Kat Coiro and Annie Valia. Moon Knight, interestingly, did not have a casting confirmation. A lot of people are saying that they're still working out the contract for Oscar Isaac,
Mhm.
so who knows whether that will be confirmed in the coming weeks. But confirmed to direct is Mohamed Diab, and I think there were some other directors who I don't have handy. The Secret Invasion was confirmed to include Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn reprising their roles from Captain Marvel in the Secret Invasion show. Not sure about when that's going to launch either. We also got confirmation and a casting that was on no one's radar. Ironheart, played by Dominique Thorne, who you might know from Beale Street. She's going to play Riri Williams. Armor Wars was confirmed. Uh, Don Cheadle will be in a starring role. The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special seems like it will be quite a bit of fun. With director James Gunn bringing his bit of shenanigans to Disney Plus in obviously in the Christmas season.
And hopefully Peter Quill will be
2022.
by there as well.
What did you say?
Hopefully Peter Quill will be by there as well.
Oh,
He was just confirmed by in the comics.
Yeah.
I think I knew that. Oh yes, because of the storyline, the
Very
current storyline.
by.
Yes.
That makes that very funny with Chris Pratt and his whole,
It'd be a shame if he left. Just saying.
One might say that sometimes comic people want to put digs in against the movie counterparts. Also confirmed the return of Baby Groot. Baby Groot will be getting a series of shorts in the MCU, little shorts on Disney Plus.
I
We
just
also
took part of that sentence, and my mind is now imagining Baby Groot trying on
Baby Groot in shorts, Hawaiian shorts, biking shorts, long shorts. Thor: Love and Thunder. We finally got confirmation about who Christian Bale is playing. As we mentioned earlier, Gore, the God
He could
Butcher.
get it too. Oh,
You know, he's
I
gonna.
was hoping for Frog Thor.
I was hoping for Dario Agger. Hopefully, Dario Agger will still be in the show. But listen, Gore the God Butcher, Gore the God Butcher is a problem, and I fully expect him to be a problem in this movie.
See, I thought it was Gore the God Butcher, so he just had like a meat shop on the side.
It's like I've got different cuts of gods. I've got some rump roasts. Let's see. Ant-Man and the Wasp third movie has a subtitle now. Quantumania is running wild, people. What you gonna do
when they come
when the
for
Quantumania
you.
runs wild on you?
That's a reference to the first movie.
Is it?
Yeah, because Scott goes, "What? Do you guys just put quantum in front of everything?"
That's right. He did say that. But I'm
here for it. I'm all the way here for it because we have had personally, I really like both of the first two movies. I don't care what anybody else says, if they like them, whatever. But I like those first two, and I have kind of wanted them to lean more into the sci-fi aspect of the character, like and kind of toy around more with the implications of the Pym particles and stuff like that. I'm still bitter that we didn't really get a good look at Bill Foster being Goliath. Whatever, it's cool. But at least we're going to get Kang the Conqueror, and that's like the huge consolation prize.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say they finally officially confirmed Jonathan Major, who you might know from Lovecraft Country, in the role of Kang the Conqueror. There was also a second recasting of Cassie Lang by Catherine Newton, who what was she most recently on, guys? Can you help me out with that?
Freaky, that movie that came
What movie?
out. That movie,
That show?
Freaky.
Oh, Freaky,
And
yes.
Yeah, and she was also Claire Novak on Supernatural.
Okay.
She was there was like this John Cena movie called Blockers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was
Okay.
good actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've never seen it.
there has been some speculation, according to hashtags on social media, that she will be taking on the role of Stature, which fuels speculation that the debut of the Young Avengers will be happening in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I'm here for it. If
Now,
that,
do you do Young Avengers or do you Champions?
see, I'm thinking Young Avengers because of Kate Bishop, Stature. Kang the Conqueror, of course, has ties to the Young Avengers through Iron Lad if they go that direction, but maybe not. I think that
No, I was just about to say, am I the only one that kind of thinks they might attempt to do both? Because I feel like there's some of like I don't think that there's enough room to like fit all of those characters that they're setting the seeds for in one singular team. Like you got let me see, Kate Bishop, America Chavez, WandaVision has Billy and Thomas showing up. We possibly may get
Ironheart.
Well, of course we're gonna get Ironheart, but then
America Chavez.
I'm kind of speculating as far as maybe where Teddy might show up, possibly in Captain Marvel 3 or in Secret Invasion.
Yeah, Teddy, definitely.
Yeah, so like their team is already kind of filled out, and on top of that, we might possibly get, if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna get a look maybe at what is his name? Isaiah Bradley being the first, so maybe Eli Bradley might come from that. Um,
So my thought process is
I know
that
it's kind of going to the realm of.
Well, the
Well,
other, well,
I know I know it's going into the realm of speculation, but I'm just saying that
sure.
the seeds there are like so much that you almost kind of feel like you can't do both and incorporate them onto just one team.
and there's one more you haven't mentioned. If we're doing WandaVision, and there's any resemblance between that show and the Tom King Vision series, what if we get Viv?
Viv might come out of that too. And not to mention, they cast a young Latinx character on Falcon and Winter Soldier, who might very well end up being Falcon, Joaquin Torres.
Well, you see, first of all, I quibble about that because that actor is fairly older.
I quibble
Um,
too.
Also, I don't know if you remember, but you actually see that actor in the trailer. He's one of the military
do.
guys. He's one of the military guys on the plane with them when Falcon jumps out of the plane.
Oh, okay. Well, I retract that last bit then.
So yeah, I mean, but I hear you. I think what they might do is I think they may come out of the gate. I think they may come out of the gate with Young Avengers because it's a more well-known brand, and then a couple years later do the Champions as a sort of the next generation, especially because unlike with the comics, these actors are aging in real time, and if you're going to have another team of teens, these people are going to become young adults very quickly, and then there'll be
Right.
another iteration of young characters if you want to have teen characters.
And I mean that does work because frankly, I mean, just even in universe, there's still the fact that Miss Marvel and Spidey and Nova, they started off trying to be actually on the Avengers team, and then they kind of ideologically feel like the Avengers don't really do enough to help out communities, so they kind of branch off from the Avengers to do their own thing. So I think that could still work out.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely see, and one thing based on the announcements, there's a possibility that Kamala Khan won't be part of this Young Avengers team, because she's going to be teaming up with Captain Marvel and
Captain Marvel, yeah,
with Captain Marvel and with Monica Rambeau.
I hope that's not the case.
She may immediately be drafted into the Avengers, kind of in order, like, somewhat mirroring what we see in the video game. I mean, I don't know who is playing the Avengers video game. If anyone is, feel free to elucidate, for the listeners.
I actually want to jump in and say it would actually mirror something else that actually happens in the MCU, and that's Peter Parker getting drafted in Infinity War.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Another good point.
I was thinking about it because Peter Parker, we don't think of him as an Avenger most times, Right. So it would be interesting to see Peter Parker not be an Avenger when the Avengers are all his age. Because what if the Young Avengers becomes the main Avengers team in the future? We're not really talking about any other Avenger teams right now.
Yeah, there are no Avengers movies on the slate as of now.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah, and that, if I remember correctly, the Young Avengers series arises out of the Disassembled story, where there wasn't any Avengers team at the time, right?
Yep.
So to me, that further bolsters the idea that we will get a Young Avengers team in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, particularly because, Scott's not the kind of person that would try to, like, cock block a team of Young Avengers from calling themselves the Avengers. He seems like the kind of person that would kind of get pulled along with the ride, along with that ride, and Wasp would maybe be more of an authority figure / mentor for them. So I'm here for it if that's the direction they go.
And then we finally get Ant-Man and the Wasp being founding members of the Avengers team. That would be awesome.
Also, Civil War 2 is Avengers and Champions splitting.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I knew that.
There was some sobering and somber news, of course, in relationship to Black Panther 2, which was officially still confirmed to be going. But Kevin Feige announced that the role of T'Challa will not be recast, and the movie
But wait,
will.
what are they gonna do? Just take clips of like the old T'Challa and just like
I have feelings about
I
that.
have both feelings and I have thoughts.
Yeah.
I'd like to sort of jump out with my thoughts first, and then
No, I would rather you go with your feelings. Lead with your feelings. Go ahead.
Feelings first.
So my feelings are I'm very sad. I understand the feelings around how Chadwick Boseman's portrayal of the role transcended any other previous portrayal of the role and brought that character into the mainstream in a way that is really impossible to replicate. I think that that character though does have a rich history, and the promise of that character in the universe was kind of his tragic passing derailed all of that. I would hate to see the legacy of T'Challa and the Black Panther be diminished by the fact that there's a sense that no one can carry on the tradition as strongly as he can.
I'm
And
gonna
and
try to audition by like making a video of myself and putting it on YouTube.
and
I
and
think I
it's
can do the next one.
and it's for that reason that I think there's been a lot of talk about Shuri stepping in and becoming the successor to T'Challa in the MCU as the Black Panther. And I'd like to throw out a bit. Those of you who follow me on Twitter know this thought that I had a couple days ago. But what about Lupita Nyong'o's Nakia character taking on the mantle, taking on the suit, and having her be the primary agent of Wakanda. She would serve Shuri as who would step in and be the queen, but she would be, a different spin on Black Panther. And as we know from the movies, she's T'Challa's betrothed, T'Challa's lover, and the idea of her carrying on the legacy. Obviously, we know Lupita Nyong'o is a stellar individual, someone who would not be prone to going off on a ill-fated discussion about anti-vaxxing, and would be a role model to many generations of people. She also is a A-list actress with both an Oscar and a high-profile snubbing for the Oscar. So we know that from that perspective, she has every ability to maintain the status of Black Panther as a character in both the pop culture and in the, in universe. The ability to bring gravitas to the role and continue.
I go ahead.
I'll try to be quick. The interesting thing about what you laid out is that the relationship between this iteration of Nakia and Shuri really does further Nakia as a 007 type character.
That's right.
I can't help but feel though that a Letitia Wright slide was pulled from the PowerPoint Thursday.
And I just want to interject here a couple of thoughts.
Start with your feelings first.
Well, okay, my feeling is that even though Chadwick Boseman has left this amazing legacy, he's left the legacy as his character and as a person in real life. At the same time, I feel like a way that you honor a legacy is not by putting it on a shelf in a cabinet somewhere, like a nice little glass trophy case, and looking at it like it's just a stagnant thing. I genuinely feel like they're using this as an excuse. Like, I guess fans or whoever are just using this as an excuse or getting kind of in their feelings as though, like we're supposed to just like somebody basically is trying to propose that we just immediately move on. Nobody's saying that we immediately move on. I personally do not believe that we should immediately just recast the character.
I think we
However,
do.
however, if we're not going to recast for Black Panther 2, okay, Black Panther 2, count the remaining days in 2020. Okay, so from that point up to 2021, the movie's supposed to come out in 2021. Okay, that's 1 year. Then,
2022, I believe, yes.
oh, I'm sorry, yes, it's 1 year away from 2022. Okay, so after 2022, given the record that we have now, is going to take approximately 3-ish, 4-ish more years for this third movie to come out. Do y'all mean to tell me that in 6 years' time or 5 years' time, y'all are still going to be mourning this actor to the degree that you don't want to see what else the character was, supposed to be doing or whatever he was up to? Because I mean,
Yes.
if you get to that point, it like because now if you wanted to, you could use Black Panther 2 to explore either maybe the time that like whatever happened during the snap, whoever took up the mantle during the snap, or you could use it to explore another aspect of Wakanda that maybe Black Panther got, you can say he got caught up and was kidnapped or whatever, and you have to try to find him or whatever. But either way, you don't have to necessarily do something in part 2, but part 3, now you're just looking like this big gap in his story. You're just gonna act like he just disappeared and just, oh well, nothing happened. We just don't want to talk about him anymore. Like, no, I feel
No,
like
I mean, I think it's more likely that there will be some kind of in-universe tribute to T'Challa, whether it's that he is actually killed off, or is he
well, yeah, but
presumed,
Well,
or he's
I know who
presumed
could do
dead.
it.
but that's my point though. How are you going to be like, okay, people are saying, okay, don't recast T'Challa. Okay, well, you have to explain that in universe unless you just want to have this glaring gap in your story. So are you going to say that he's just like, I've heard people say like, oh, we'll just say he got lost in space somewhere. I'm like, okay, well, y'all just want to say that off screen and just, oh well, too bad.
Well, they could
Or
show a rocket go off into space. They don't
well,
have to show his face,
right,
right?
but I'm saying like if you do something like that, it just feels to me like people are treating it as though it can't be, as though it's untouchable and not worth touching. And I feel like it's so people are more in their feelings about just not wanting to be disrespectful to Black Panther or
Mhm.
not wanting to be disrespectful to Chadwick Boseman.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that is understandable. And I don't feel like it's, unreasonable to ask that. But in terms of whether or not to recast T'Challa, I think that we don't even really have a place to revisit that until basically time to start planning for Black Panther 3. Like
Yeah.
right now, we're still too
Yeah.
raw, and we can't really be reasonable or really like have our thoughts be clear as to what we really want to do going forward.
I agree with
I
that.
just want. Oh,
No, Kia, no, go ahead, Kia.
I just really wanted to say real quick, Randy. I hear you and I see you, and I want to thank you for sharing. But also,
Thank you, Angelina Jolie.
yes, I just did it. Thank you for catching that. But also, I think that I got it. We can fix all of this. We'll just make Denzel Washington the new Black Panther. Everybody likes Denzel. Like, there you go. You're done. I mean, Denzel was like pretty much like he was pretty instrumental in like Chadwick Boseman's like whole like development.
I would
again,
question why Black Panther all of a sudden has a New York accent. I would want to know why
well,
T'Challa.
well, at least I do want to clarify that I'm not saying that I am definitely not saying that I want T'Challa to be like to kind of remain forever in front of Shuri. I don't want to like deny the fact that Shuri has potential to develop as a character, the fact that Nakia or that there is a role for another Black Panther to step forward, especially the potential of raising a Black woman's profile. And
Yes.
again, there's also the representation, not only Lupita Nyong'o being Black, but I believe she also is Mexican. So that would be great representation. So, but I don't think that right now we're really in that place to be thoughtful fully about where do we go with T'Challa from here, because people are kind of in that mode of like the binary of, do we recast him for Black Panther 2, or do we not recast him at all? And I don't think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah, I mean, so to clarify, I'm definitely not in favor of him being unequivocally, excuse me, unequivocally killed off, never
Right,
to return.
right,
I think it would be smart to leave some ambiguity in case, whether it be Black Panther 3 or Black Panther 4, when we're now 6 or 10 years down the line,
right.
if we then felt that it would be acceptable and or appropriate to recast, the door is still open for that,
Right.
so that the universe of Black Panthers could be expanded rather than contracted, because that's the other side of it. When
Right.
people talk about you
The
know
back door.
when people talk about Shuri becoming Black Panther, they forget that it was a very brief time that T'Challa was gone. He was right back,
Right.
and and it wasn't a full-on replacement. It
Right.
wasn't saying that one ascension comes at the cost of
Exactly.
another being
Exactly.
taken off the board. So I think in this instance, you want to have a situation where everyone can feel represented. Everyone, we can get, whether it's Shuri or Nakia, we can get a Black Panther that we can be proud of and can further the legacy. I hope that they call the movie Black Panther Legacy. That's the hashtag that I've been using.
Yeah.
I think that works for a sequel. I think that it works whether it's someone immediately stepping into the suit or just figuring out how to carry on that legacy.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, the hope is that we will be doing multiple Black Panther movies and they won't
Um,
sunset the franchise and sunset the character. So down the line, when, you know, you have to think about actors too. In the next 2 years, we know how things work on the blogosphere. We know how things work on Twitter. We know that anyone who wants to step into that role and say I'm going to be the new T'Challa is
Mm,
subjecting themselves to a lot of crap
right.
if they do it
Right.
in
I'll
the
take
next
it.
year or two.
Pay
But
me.
Bar,
you
I'll
know,
take
you
it.
know,
I
barring somebody
got
saying, I'm sorry.
I got
Barring some,
go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just saying, I was kind of just say 3 points to interject on this. Just one's a devil advocacy point. There's never been, and I was just looking it up online while we were talking. I can't see in any major franchise to where the main character has died. We've had many times to where the actors playing it, to where we've had plenty of new iterations of Batman, and so you've accepted a new Batman face was with a new director,
right.
right?
Right.
You're going all the way through. Harry Potter, we changed out Dumbledore's like socks, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Not
you
to,
had Paul Walker in Fast and the Furious, right?
not to
That's
get
probably the closest. That's probably the
Yeah.
closest one, right?
and
And
not even really that so much as going, oh crap, this person's popular and kind of retconning it back. There's
Yeah.
never really been to where the face of that trilogy and series that we were going to get has passed. It hasn't happened.
Right.
And so I can
Right.
see where that puts you in a very, very weird place to make a decision of what to do because there's no
Right.
precedent.
right.
That's like
You
my
know,
first point. And the second one is I think that you can almost get around the casting controversy if you involved his family. If
Yeah,
his
but you
family
but
was
you can't
Hmm.
ask you can't ask his family to make any kind of public statement right now. That would just be too
oh
much.
no. I just
Right.
think
No.
whenever you're
Right.
going to do this in the future, if you want to get it to where everybody really accepts it, and like you said, the person who comes up on Twitter doesn't catch that heat, the only way that you really get that passed is if the family comes out publicly when they say this and they come on stage and they announce this at the next Disney, whatever, and here's a
Right.
new person
Right.
surrounded by the family, and all of his relatives are like, this is the guy we believe in and know that Chadwick would be
Would have
having.
wanted it. Yes.
Yeah, and then they don't catch that.
Exactly.
Yes. And that's just not something
Right.
that you like in the next year and a half. They're going to start filming in July, right? I mean,
Right.
you have to imagine they've already, I think they're very close to completing a new script for the movie. So you have to imagine that Ryan Coogler and whoever else is working on the script has had to work around this in general. And in the short term, it definitely makes sense to find a way to write him out and deal with it in the third movie, one way or the other, definitively or not definitively.
And then
You
point
know,
three, how
oh.
come like there's only two of us drinking? I just happen to be the sea service people.
Okay, water does not count, Shaun. Ew.
But Arturo, you had a point. I'm sorry.
Well, piggybacking off what Kevin said, the closest comparison here might be Carrie Fisher, prior to the Rise of Skywalker. It's easy to imagine that Leia might have played a more prominent role had she survived to be a bigger part of the story. But two areas where the nature of the MCU butts into history in multiple mediums. In the comics, it's established that even Marvel's super science can't cure everything. Captain Marvel died of cancer. And second of all, like Kevin said, we've seen multiple Batman over the past 10, 15 years, and each of those were self-contained projects. And with the nature of the MCU, I do wonder how long before we circle back to, we call them inevitable reboots, but there's so much material out there, and especially now with the advent of Disney Plus, they don't have to circle back.
No, they don't have to reboot it. They can just recast. But I imagine at some point we'll get even Iron Man recast.
Well, the other thing is, there is a multiverse. There's more than one T'Challa out there.
Oh, now you're encroaching on my hatred of multiverse.
Barring somebody saying that T'Challa Prime went out for smokes, you have to keep all options on the table.
I mean, go ahead, Randy.
I just was about to say that. I mean, even if you wanted to go that route, which really, even though I'm usually not averse to multiverses, I still feel like you have to explain what happened to the Prime universe, because there's no way that you can just like write that off and treat it as though.
Yeah, not even Deadpool could pull that off.
It's so much. It would leave such a huge gap that you would literally have to break the fourth wall and be like, okay, well, we can't really address this because the character's gone. So I mean, there's no way to really circle that square.
Yeah, I agree. And notwithstanding my hatred of multiverse shenanigans, the idea of them just plucking a new T'Challa from the Boyegaverse and have him step in and be the new Black Panther and everyone just be okay with that, seems even more distasteful than just recasting Prime T'Challa.
You could do it. You could do it, but you would have to explain where the other one went. That's what I'm saying. And I honestly, at that point, if you explain where the other one went, you explain the possibility of getting him back. And so you kind of circle back around to painting yourself in that corner of where is he at.
Right.
Look, I totally get that. Like, everybody loved Chad Boswick, and I loved him too.
Chad Boseman.
Boswick.
He's from the multiverse. Chad Boswick.
Chad Boseman, the name of that white Panther, they find out is white the whole time.
But at the end of the day, Wakanda must go on, and you guys aren't gonna like me for this, but look, people pass on. That's just how life is. And but this franchise is going to continue. So I think that people are gonna have to, rub some dirt on it and get the fuck over it.
Well,
and just
while I don't disagree with you in principle, I think in the short run, this was a Disney investor call. And Kevin Feige had to say the thing that was going to be most politically correct and investor correct. And I think given that,
PR.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, from a PR perspective, I think that the statement was classy and the sentiment was classy, and there was probably no real blowback from it in the short run. There's only kind of prospective blowback. Everyone understands why Black Panther 2 won't have T'Challa in it, and 5 years
Well,
from
then
now.
what is that? That's not really Black Panther 2, is it? It's like Wakanda, and then where's Black Panther?
Well, that's why you have to have somebody else take up the role in the interim. And like that's literally the only thing that you could think of, that somebody has to take over the role, because if not, then it's just like, okay, Shuri is still Shuri, Nakia is still just Nakia, and we're just doing Wakanda stuff.
Yeah, that's doing Wakanda stuff. Like you can't call it Black Panther 2 and not have Black Panther in it.
I mean, you could call it Black Panther TOO and have like a different person.
So who has a Wakanda connection that you guys aren't considering, and I think it's just the natural fit for this role.
Barbraxis?
Gonna have to fight.
Did you say? Who did you say?
Bucky Barnes.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
This guy is trying to racial draft in the MCU.
Yes.
And this is why you got Cyborg.
Right, exactly.
That's not even the wildest guess I've heard this week. I heard I saw somebody on Twitter pitch the idea of returning Michael B. Jordan's character.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
A multiverse where he was Black Panther.
I'm thinking. Not even that, but take the original and say it was T'Challa's wish for him to come back, to be brought back, and have him step into the mantle.
This sounds like someone who had a Killmonger was right T-shirt, trying to get their agenda across.
But
he may not have been right. Was he wrong?
He was wrong. If not for him burning all the heart-shaped herb, it'd be very easy to replace Black Panther. Black Panther.
He killed Tilda Johnson. He killed Tilda Johnson. He was wrong.
But while we're on the subject, I am very interested in the potential to bring back Killmonger by the
zombie Killmonger.
Well, no, but not zombie per se, but just basically Madame Slay had this arc where she tried to bring no. Matter of fact, I was wrong on that. It was the Mandarin that did something in the comics that brought Killmonger back. But basically, this time around, if you do it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you could have Madame Slay be like the character that does whatever ceremony that brings him back to life. We could potentially have him like lose his memory or something. Whatever.
Well, you guys know that I've been advocating, before this announcement, of course, I was advocating for them to do the intergalactic Kingdom of Wakanda. Yeah. And, in that world, there is a Ninjaka who is the emperor of all the worlds. So, that could be a place to bring Michael B. Jordan back as Emperor Ninjaka, basically the ruler of the empire, the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. That would be a cool way to bring him back as well.
That has to be number 3 or number 4. Black Panther 3 or 4. But I just was on that subject. I think it was like there was a couple of like Wakandan African characters who kind of dabble in ceremonies and herbs and stuff like that could potentially justify bringing back Killmonger if they wanted to go that route. I don't necessarily advocate that route, but I could potentially see if they wanted to say
Killmonger versus Trump.
We wanted to bring him back. We have allegiance to him, and we're gonna do this thing to bring him back.
Yeah, I also think that practically speaking, to have like. You're already going to have the issue of why is T'Challa not on the ancestral plane if he has died. But also, if you have any kind of storyline that involves bringing a character back from the dead, why wouldn't they bring T'Challa back from the dead? So
unless you said gave his spirit up to bring Killmonger back, and that's why he can't. He made that kind of Black Widow choice.
What about White Panther, though?
I'm rolling some thin dice on that. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying.
That's kind of my feeling. Like it's so much that he is so ingrained into the story that any attempt to kind of circumvent him without recasting is like, well, why didn't you just go back and bring back actual T'Challa? Like,
Right.
you know, or even time travel to back before T'Challa died and save him or something, you know, comic booky like that.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
still
and that's why I think him being lost somewhere, you know, in like a black hole or somewhere, you know, where he's presumed dead in the sense that Wakanda has to move on, but there's no hope for him in the short run that he's going to come back.
And that literally gives
Puts him in a
seeds
black hole.
I have
for
a quick question, Mike. How long would it take you to recast me if I passed on?
next
Um,
day.
no, there would never
Brady's like,
be
I'll take her
there would
spot.
never be another Kielisi. We would have your picture in a ceremonial frame like it is now, this picture. And you know, it'll be one of those things. Like there will never be another Kielisi, but they'll have to get another co-host. And you know,
It'd
we'll
be
try.
Shaun.
So I would draft you, Kia, and I would cast Amelia Clark.
Wow. White Kia.
I only want white Kia. That's all I want. Take my spot.
Yeah, we're gonna replace Kia with a white girl.
I'm already trying to get white. You see my picture.
He's gonna become Karen Lisi.
Frank
Karen
Karen.
Lisi?
No, Frank Karen. But last but not least was the you know, has had the internet a little bit of buzz for the last couple of days, and that was the official announcement of the Fantastic Four. The movie will be directed by John Watts, who is directing the Spider-Man trilogy, fueling speculation that there may be a Spider-Man appearance in this Fantastic Four movie. No casting, no dating, but all we have is a logo, and it's a 4. Wouldn't you know it?
John Watts is the luckiest motherfucker alive.
Watts
He got to direct the
bro.
Spider-Man trilogy, and he gets to introduce the Fantastic Four.
That's a lot of pressure, though.
What do you think, Martine?
I'm looking forward to it, but like Shaun said, that he is a very lucky man. Even if he does have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, it's still an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, because
I would
everyone
be
wants to
extra in
see.
that movie.
Yeah, just like walking past and just
I
no
will.
lines.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Maybe I'll be like, hey, watch out. Ah, or might be the one screaming. But hey, it's gonna happen.
So my thing is that, like, unlike Spider-Man, who has had a big screen incarnation that people have liked, the Fantastic Four has had big screen incarnations that people have been either lukewarm to or disliked. So there are a lot of people who want a good Fantastic Four movie, but don't really have an idea of what a good Fantastic Four movie looks like. And I think that he's going to have people second guessing his take on the Fantastic Four as badly as there are segments of people who dislike his take on Spider-Man, if not worse.
I kind of disagree with that just because the Fantastic Four probably are not as popular. I feel like the Fantastic Four are like one of my favorite teams ever in all of Marvel, and you know they've been kept afloat for years and stuff, but not necessarily due to their actual popularity, if I'm not mistaken.
I hear
And
that.
so I feel like, especially since we've already had like the Incredibles, like we kind of have, you know, some superhero enthusiasm diverted elsewhere. So
Mhm.
they might kind of get, you know, some jabs here and there, but I'm not quite sure that they're going to be particularly harsh on the Fantastic Four as long as it's literally like not the 2015 version. They're going to be a little bit more gracious on, you know, how they score that movie, just because it's okay. Now we have the potential to cross over with other heroes, and it's also not that dreadful, horrible, terrible, fantastic foolishness from 2015.
That's fair. I mean, I think that we never want to underestimate the internet's ability to be negative.
Yeah.
So
What?
when it
What are you
comes
talking
to
about?
when it
It's like,
comes to the Fantastic Four, even people who aren't fans of the Fantastic Four will become fans just for the purpose of hating on it.
Right.
But
fantastic.
it
Ultra.
remains to be seen. Fantastic 4chan, of course. Um, but I mean, that's our news. I think. Well, no, sorry. There was one more news story in the realm of
Penis.
DC. No, it's a quick story. In the realm of
Mm.
DC,
That's what he said too.
um, we now know who the future state Batman, aka the Black Batman,
Oh, that.
is.
Is he black or brown? Because I mean, will you be able to tell the difference between his face and his suit?
I mean,
I
he's smart.
mean-
He never shows his face, you know. So
I mean, he better make sure that the Darker Knight is not identified as such, but he will be Tim Fox, Tim aka Jace Fox, estranged son of Lucius Fox. We don't know a lot about the character, what he's been up to for the last X number of years. He debuted in 1979, and in true black man fashion, he went out for a box of cigarettes, and hasn't been seen since. So
waiting for the Newport extra menthols.
exactly. So he's going to be the. Stay tuned on what that means to have the Black Batman Tim Fox in DC Future State. Speaking of alternate universes, as it were, Shep, why don't you talk a little bit about the Fantasy Comics League role-playing universe that universes, sorry,
He just
that
muted
you're setting
himself
up for us.
because he doesn't want to.
Okay, so thought it'd be fun to go ahead and float this idea about seeing, since you guys have such wonderful alternate takes on these different characters, about how, since you're having these takes on these characters, how you would go ahead and see them live out. So there's a couple
Sexual.
of different systems. Well, I mean, it's the thing that sparks your imagination. At least for me, I'm a game type person, and it's definitely sparked mine. So I would like to see how, you know, our new iteration of the Brokest Batman works out. And
Call it Brokeback Mountain Batman.
oh well, you know,
Oh Lord.
there's no limits.
I mean, I feel like Puerto Rican Batman knows how to stretch the finances. All right, you know.
I just can't quit you.
The Batman who dances, you know. So how does this
South of Batman?
so showing how these takes, because even though, you know, it's almost like how the what ifs issues work out, we'll say, except for the fact that this would be a live living thing. So there's a couple of game system, I think, that will reflect how the changes that all of you have made into your characters would work, and just to see you guys go ahead and actually live through the eyes of your particular person or people that you've chosen.
So you want us to go to Walmart dressed up as our character and be like,
Dear, if I had you do that, you know, we would talk on the side and see how much you want to pay for that. But as far as to go ahead and do as
that option for our OnlyFans.
Yes, racial draft at OnlyFans. We're working on that.
Well, I mean, hey, we got to fund the whole show somehow, right?
That's right.
So, but to do a separate, go ahead and a separate Zoom cast. We'll pick a day. I don't know, once a week, 2 weeks, something, and just see how you would live your life with this person you wrote. That's kind of what I'm proposing. And there's kind of assistance for this and things. I would kind of do most of the heavy lifting for you, including running everything, and just, you know, get on and do some Zoom stuff. We're here doing this. Get a cast doing. Same way Let's Plays are on Twitch or other things like that, to do that for the show, kind of expand the genre a bit.
So it's a shared universe. We're all playing with each other.
Yes, but we would still split it for DC's
really
on DC,
titillating.
Marvel's on Marvel, you know, and then get to each other's stuff.
Or just playing with ourselves.
We have a
We all
show
do that.
title.
We all do that at the time. That's self-love is important. I'm sure some of us go through more batteries than the other.
is this like the racial draft orgy?
Only on OnlyFans.
Also on OnlyFans, yes. No, sound. I mean, stay tuned. Stay tuned for more to come, so to speak.
I can't.
Is this going to be a post-draft thing?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. I mean,
what I want to do is just do something like that. Like I've been kind of already working on some little things, and I'm trying to get the man over here to open me, give me some permissions in the Discord channel.
Did you say open me?
Spot.
yeah, we'll. Yeah, I'll work. I'll work on opening you up.
Be gentle.
All right. But we'll
Loosely.
as the draft continues to play out, we'll check in on the universes that you've created, just as you sort of drop these characters in, and you can kind of keep us posted on what's happening. And yeah, I guess we've been having some discussions about doing an official YouTube channel for, in addition to the OnlyFans, obviously, for Racial Draft. So we'll try to see about getting some of this RPG stuff on the YouTube channel.
I think it's a shame that you guys have make amazing backstories. You get some amazing art, and then it kind of stops. And I think that there's an avenue.
Some of us make amazing backstories.
Yes. I mean,
if you do a YouTube series,
That's why, like I said, I was keeping mine to go ahead and show how this would be. So the backstory of, in a way, of taking away some of the Wolverine's rampants, let's trample over Asia and do all these tropes things and keep them a little bit closer to say American canon up and down, doing things with Gage, some of his.
Well, just to be clear, just because you gave us a verbal backstory doesn't mean that we're still not expecting.
You're gonna get a written
back. Yeah, all right.
Don't you still got to answer for giving away Black Panther? Come on.
Love it. Love it.
All right, Martine. Just because Wakanda Gate is over doesn't mean that you can't laugh.
Oh wait, and that is where it's really at. He gave them Black Panther so Wakanda Gate could be over. He finished Wakanda Gate, and that's why he did that.
Yes, let's turn all attention back to my team and ignore my failure to come over back to
The
story.
CPT strikes again. You need a. I mean, not to since we're all friends here, I can talk about maybe you want a character that is outside of CP time for your next draft pick.
Right.
That's why Kang the Conqueror is
Shaun,
black.
that means colored people time.
That's why Kang the Conqueror is black. So
Kang the Conqueror, now that he's been cast black, we call him the color people Time Lord.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's how much he's going through time. He's just always late, and it builds up, and there's
yeah, exactly.
And then it just explodes.
He's just been late from the beginning of time.
He's like, oh, I'm 5 minutes away.
I think it's smart if you make Kang as black as he is, now you can go ahead and make Reed Richards black. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different places we can go. Speaking of places we can go, let's preview round 2. We've got a lot of representation of the delegations here, but only one has wild card poll privileges. So let's hear these poll. Work your poll. Unlike last week where there was dirty poll work.
Oh yeah, totally dirty, Martine.
What did I do? I am innocent in here.
I missed Martine getting dirty. Oh
no, Shaun. Shaun tried to give us a dirty poll.
I'm not gonna say anything, but we see Martine's last name, right? And we're I love you.
Oh no. Okay.
I'm not saying.
I haven't heard that enough already in my
I
life.
love you. I love you so much.
Yeah, but now you get to be dirty pole. They're just dirty. Come on now, let's step up.
All right,
Is
Shep.
it?
At least lateral move.
All right, Shep. Let's give it to us. Who's
All
the
right.
first?
Give it
Who
to
is the
us.
first
I'm
multiracial?
Michael's
splitting the
mouth is
poll
wide
between
open.
Marvel and
Give it to
DC
him.
to be fair. So between Marvel and DC. So for Marvel side, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Spider-Man,
Peter Parker.
Peter Parker.
Now, what is his racial background?
Peter Parker is going to be Puerto Rican and black. He's going to take the Miles role.
So Pedro Parker.
Yeah, so his dick is gonna
You know I'm
be
coming
big.
for
yeah.
Miles now, you know? Like, we just got to balance it out.
He's
Yeah, I'm just
he's
saying.
Puerto Rican. No,
Yes,
no.
right.
So he's a Peter.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Peter, he is a Puerto Rican and black.
That's right.
I gotcha. And he's still in Queens.
He's still in Queens.
Oh yeah, he is the cool.
All right.
All right. I got you. All right. Who's next?
Iron Man is Indian and white.
Oh, Tony Stark. Okay.
Right.
Tony Stark, and you said Indian and white.
That's
Number
right.
1 and number 2 at Marvel have just been put onto this poll.
That's right. God damn, I did a little bit of research.
Now, can you preview a little bit of what would make Indian Tony Stark, or multiracial Tony Stark, a little different from regular?
Well, I would think he has a
plain white guy?
little bit more of his ethnic background to draw off of. He is somebody who I feel grew actually up in India, so that's where the white part comes.
Oh
from
yeah,
being-
so he's hardcore.
yeah, being British side, but came over young. You know,
Wait, so he speaks with a British accent?
yeah,
That's
Okay.
hot.
All right, I could see it. I could see
Hard on.
the Playboy side of okay.
yeah. So he came to the States,
Holy.
you know, doing the college and doing the advanced stuff, going to MIT.
Oh right, and there are a lot of Indian people at MIT. That's true.
Yeah, I hang out there too.
You know.
So I'm trying to get him
Trying to get that hubby.
push.
Okay, Tony Stark. What
But I
else you
think
got
they
for
would
us?
Also changed his armor look up a little bit. I figured he'd have a little bit more cultural influence in the armor look.
Okay.
The designs or stylings or something like that. And I think it'd be kind of neat. So that takes care of my 2 Marvel types. Out of DC, I'm going to take Flash.
Barry Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Allen, and what would be his racial background?
Barry Allen is going to be Native American,
Indian.
white.
No.
Native
was kidding.
American and
Only because
white.
I'm going back onto the great running greats that we have, who is a Native American background. So
Now, did you have a nation in mind?
no, because I was actually going to go ahead and hit up the Native American delegation and
Okay, fair enough.
from that.
Do Apache.
And then finally, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
You've been blocked. Do you feel
Well,
that? Do you feel those warm nuts on your forehead? Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the multiracial.
That was
That is
an
blocked
unpredictable.
you.
So Wonder Woman's putting her nuts on. This is definitely
Oh.
a different kind of racial draft.
Hey,
The big no
don't hate.
fever.
What would be Wonder Woman's racial makeup?
Everything but white.
He is going to be Mexican and Native American.
Mexican and wait,
Okay.
Native American, but
Right. That's multiracial.
Really?
but them is not
You
in
couldn't have made her
America.
The Will of
Japanese.
Soul
Nothing?
says that you can come from anywhere.
Hey, you know you could pick more than 2. You know that, right?
hmm But the Well of
Yeah.
Soul says, I'm doing this on purpose. I ain't giving her no peace. She's just going to have dark skin and some brown ass, black ass hair. This is what's going on.
Damn.
The Well of Souls and Wonder Woman lore says any woman from anywhere. That's how come you actually have Nubia and all these other ones who can come from different places.
That's true.
Bro,
I'm here for it.
Okay. Now, just for clarification's sake, would you have some of those influences in the Amazon culture as well?
well, like I said, I mean, just how the Well of Souls draws, I almost think you could keep things somewhat the same, except for her influences and flashes of things are going to come from her native cultures too.
Mm.
Okay.
So even though like she was, made of clay, but that's the spirit that came into her body.
Okay. All
If
right.
they're going to have, to me, they would have a play as well. So you would actually get more things making sense of, say, instead of kind of the stylized American eagle look,
Mm-hmm.
the Thunderbird symbol or the colors,
Mhm.
having a bit more for Mexican heritage reflection. And that's also my shout out to Linda Carter.
We also have an
Sure.
eagle
Yeah.
on our flag.
Yeah. So there you have it. There are the four poll
Bald
choices.
eagle.
I will reiterate that based on snake draft rules, that means that the South Asian delegation will be drafting first in round 2, followed by the Jewish delegation, followed by the white delegation, then the Native American delegation, then the Latinx delegation, then the Polynesian delegation, then the black delegation, then, according to the poll, the multiracial delegation, and rounding out with the last pick of the second round will be the Asian delegation. So, a lot of characters still on the board, a lot of potential. It's going to be interesting to
one
see how
hand,
it plays out.
I'm super
Yeah, I
excited that
mean,
I get to go before Martine, but on the other hand, I know Martine will still pick a character that's going to hurt no matter what.
Now, without tipping your hand of characters that you're planning to draft for your particular delegation, what would you like to see in the second round? I'll start with you, Martine.
Hey,
Well,
well, now that I have Batman, I don't know.
I'm not sure. Without tipping my hand, obviously, because I'm trying to.
Tip it.
I'm not. No. Why would I? No.
Just tip. Just tip.
No. Yeah. Stop it. What would I want to see? I mean, I would want eventually for more people to write something before the episode, so we can just
So we can talk about the backstories. I gotcha.
yeah, because like I like backstories. I write in my off time, so I like stories just in general, and I want to read them, and I don't want it to just be me, Tamati, and like Shaun talking about them, and then Kev and Shep to an extent, but like.
I was going to point out, Martine.
No, actually, don't listen to Martine. Martine right now is
have a
literally
fridge
just
right
trying to
here.
tell everybody to do backstories so he could actually win. Because if you concentrate on backstory, then
I'm
he
100%
can
on
concentrate on his
TFS,
point.
Nah, because like you can do both. You can get a good pick.
Yeah.
There's still good picks.
I
But
agree.
like put a little bit effort in the backstory too. Like you have days before you need to put them up. Like after you
true.
make your selection. You got time.
That's right.
All right, that's
I
fair.
hear you. That's the trash talk. That's the kind of trash talk that I'm expecting
Well,
from. Wait,
it-
real
it-
quick before you retort, because CP time. Arturo, as someone with no dog in this fight, what would you like to see from in the second round?
Someone to stop Shaun from drafting Nubia. Um,
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that division.
let's see. Again, this is where I'm stuck between myself being into the fic slash backstory possibilities and running into the numbers game. I do wonder whether stuff like what's that big Venom crossover? Whether that's
King
gonna
in Black?
play. Thank you, King in Black. Is that going to play into the next round?
Well, I think that'll be over by the time we start scoring because we don't, we run the whole 12 rounds and then we start scoring after that. So that we're talking about May. I mean, sorry,
Okay.
March. We're talking about March
Okay.
when we kick off with the scoring. So we really don't know what the next big storyline is going to be after King in Black.
Black is
Let's
king.
see. I'm always looking to see more villains get play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope that people don't reach for villains in round 2. Maybe some
I hope they
anti-hero, maybe some anti-hero type characters that can go both ways, so to speak.
Can I
But
jump in here? Can I jump in here quick?
sure, Shaun.
top villain for Marvel has 95 points. That wouldn't even put him in the top 30 for characters at Marvel. Top villain at DC has 141, which would put them in the top 6.
Yeah.
But
Is
for
that
the
character
most part,
Joker?
villains- no, it's not. You should know.
Batman Who
it is.
Laughs.
I know
No.
who it is.
Yeah, Kia knows who it is. Kia's golden sheep. That wasn't Wonder Woman.
Oh, but she's not a villain. That's crap. That is crap. She is not a villain.
Who, Harley?
Yeah,
Harley.
Oh gosh.
that is
The
a
Joker is number 2 and hasn't broken 100 points, which wouldn't put him in the top 10.
fair enough. Okay.
Isn't it weird how like every team is pretty much just trying to pick my team from last season? It's kind of crazy.
I mean, that's why you're Kielisi, because you broke the wheel, and now
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to say that out of the 8 other picks that weren't ours, 4 of them were on our team.
Ooh.
It was Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Thor, and then Black Panther.
And that's because they weren't paying attention.
And those characters helped to lead you to was it third place finish? Third
It
place.
was third.
So
Yeah.
you too can finish third place.
By taking from Latinx team.
I definitely will say this time around, I'm gonna try to be more active, more present here on the show, just because.
Sorry.
Well, no, I mean it is funny because I actually like right at the time that we that it was basically time for us to start picking who our draft was. We had a bit of confusion over in the black delegation because they the 2 co-captains basically now there's no captain on the team. So I got kind of elevated in my status in terms of being able to have more say. I get kind of more of a voice to make my choices. And so
you want
that
Dazzler
was
too?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like last time we didn't really take the choices that seriously, just because we were kind of like I guess one time they had one of the choices was chosen and somebody was saying, oh, you chose a character who's not that powerful. So the next time they chose, oh, the one above all. It's like, that was kind of a quick,
Oh, that was such a good one.
yeah, it was a retort. So this time around, I want to kind of be more thoughtful. And I myself, I also like to write as well. So hopefully I'll get to contribute to, the backstories and trying to see how the comic history can intersect with my view of blackness, I guess. But, so I want to try to take things more seriously in that aspect of who I draft, and I've actually got like a list of people who I, my choices and stuff now, rather than me trying to. Last season, I was trying to kind of come up with stuff off the top of my head. So,
well,
I'm
Randy,
trying to
if
be a
you
little bit more-
want, like, you can pay me, and I'll help you out.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm honestly, you joke, but I feel like we actually have a pretty good strategy this time around. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm feeling kind of optimistic about what our choices are.
Well, one thing that I definitely want to get into a little bit more this time out as compared to season 1 is, I want to talk a lot more about sort of the big milestones in certain characters' histories, and to see how much those histories might have the impact of their different background on those aspects. Whether the interactions that they have with existing characters would be the same, particularly as the rounds continue to progress and there continue to be the deviations in the relationships based on, Shaun knows that we've had this conversation that you don't have the power to overwrite other characters with your backstory. Right. So you have to be mindful of the fact that you can create a character, and the sphere of influence around that character might change a little bit, but not to the extent that makes another character not exist. And therefore, when you create a character that's part of another character's sphere of influence, that rather than overwrite their story, you have to work within the parameters of that story as well. So as we, introduce teammates and siblings or significant others, people with romantic histories, you have to take into account that, that those histories might intersect in a number of ways. And, we could have discussions about the ways that those intersections might change how their arcs play out. So, keep that in mind when you write your backstories.
What?
Shep is typing away on the Wolverine backstory.
I have a question.
Right now.
Do people want to hear the top 10 heroes that are still available for?
No, do not give them out. Why are you helping them? Stop it, Shaun.
Shaun is the Fantasy Comics League guru. That is his
but he's also
role.
playing. Stop. Try to win. Come on, Shaun. Don't hurt yourself.
Here's what I would say, Shaun. Here's what I would say. I would say that in lieu of naming these characters, you blind item. Give them blind item hints.
No, make people work for it. No, seriously. I had to work for it last season.
Not everybody's picking just based on FCL points. Some people are going for
backstories.
You said that's out this year. Nobody's doing that anymore.
No, that's out. That's out.
All right, fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with not giving information either.
Yeah, no, keep it to yourself.
That offer.
Make them work for it. They're here to play. They're here to play.
All right.
Look at Martine's over here like.
Everyone who is here, I feel like, is already here to play and have already picked the characters that they want.
Well, can you? All right, so fair enough. For the benefit of our listening audience, can you rank the 9 picks that were picked in the first round in terms of their scoring? I mean, I know you said it as they were going, but could you just, quickly go through 1 to 9 in terms of?
I'm gonna go in opposite order. Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Count down from 9 to 1.
Okay. Feel like if I'm thinking correctly, I think Thor is one of the weakest.
Mm-hmm.
Really, Thor over Echo?
Oh no, he's not. No, he's above Hulk.
What'd it say?
So, okay, run them through me quickly.
All right, Cap, Wolverine, Black Panther, Thor, Batman, Echo, Cyborg, Hulk, and Doctor Strange.
Echo, by far the weakest.
All right.
And then Black Panther.
Then Black Panther. Okay.
And then Thor.
Okay.
Did nobody pick any DC characters? Except me and Martin?
Oh, wait, well, yeah.
Well, the poll being what it was,
Yeah.
That's 4, okay. So then we are at Captain America, then Wolverine, then Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, Wolverine, and Captain America are better than Cyborg, so that would put me at 4th. And then by like a huge leap, Martin with Batman. He won the game almost. Like if he doesn't, and I don't think he's gonna screw up his next picks. If he doesn't screw up his next picks, we can't beat Batman.
Where did you have Hulk?
I had Hulk. Ray. It was. Bleh. Who's the bottom? Echo, Hulk, Black Panther. Bottom 3.
Well, something could screw up the Batman though. If the people who write Batman get coronavirus.
But you see, like in the comics,
everybody's writing Batman.
There's prep time. So even if they get coronavirus, they go back and they figure out a cure for coronavirus using prep time, and then they win out. That's kind of how every Batman story.
Prep time is for Batman, like the boon. But for us, we're stuck with color people time. So
yes.
Yeah.
But Shep has Wolverine, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get you Wonder Woman because that will make you a strong competitor.
Yes, it will.
Able to go toe to toe with Batman at that point.
Oh, all of us. I see. Dirty polling.
I like it. I like it. Work it. Work that poll. Work that poll.
All right.
I see
Just
how it is.
messaging all my
Wait,
friends
take
again.
me.
Hey,
It's
so
all
I need
right.
you to
And you
vote
know what,
Wonder
Shep?
Woman
I'm gonna
again.
get
Not for
Carlos
me,
on
for
our
someone else.
side too.
There it is.
Carlos not going to go on your side.
Carlos is gonna go on our side.
No, he's
Well,
not.
I look forward to seeing how democracy plays out. Unlike in our own elections, we won't be appealing to Supreme Courts to try to overturn results. All votes are presumed legal. What else?
All fake accounts. I mean, all.
I want to
No.
just say this again because I just like reiterating whatever I can. Spider-Man has appeared in almost every week this year. He has 292 points. Batman has appeared in 18 weeks and is about to break 400.
That's some bullshit.
Good Lord.
Straight up
Bad
bullshit.
privilege.
Bad privilege.
But I do want to
The
say
rich
that
keep getting
even though
richer.
Batman did all that, he still didn't win it for the team that he was on last season.
For the Asian delegation.
I just
It's
want to.
true.
Sure.
And maybe things will change.
And then in a couple weeks, he could be all dried up too. Like,
Oh yeah, Batman ain't going nowhere. Nobody puts Brucey in a corner. Like,
and then you hear the place that like makes all the comics like it blew up. I'd be like, I don't know what happened. It's all for the racial draft. It's all for the racial draft.
It's a scandal.
like,
Bruce Wayne.
They would find some way to publish, but like if their building were to burn down right now, if it were to explode or like be imploded by some alien technology, they would find some way to put out Batman comics.
Digitally.
Some Batman comics. That's all I
Well, y'all
Zombie
be digital.
apocalypse or nuclear warfare or something like that. The only thing that will ever remain aside from cockroaches is Batman. That's it.
1,000 years from now, there won't be religion. They'll just be the order.
It'll just be the Batman lore.
And
What's that-
Yogi with Preptine did give us his disciples.
What was that? Remember Book of Eli? Like Book of Eli is just like Detective Comics.
Oh, better than at least it won't be a Miller book.
Out from underground, your little underground hatch to escape the radiation poisoning, and the first thing that you see is like an issue of Batman on the ground. Like that's it. You're not gonna get away from Batman. He's inevitable, like Thanos.
I am inevitable. And on that note, I guess it's time to wind down. We've been going at it for 3 hours, people. This is a marathon show.
I'm glad.
You guys all look.
Yeah, we're pretty
I won't even
drained.
say it.
We're pretty drained.
Hey, good luck editing this.
He's gonna just
Editing.
press send. He's
Edit.
always like, what's editing?
Splice an intermission in at the 90-minute mark.
Oh yeah, Yeah, we'll put in a bathroom break for everyone.
Wasn't as good for y'all as it was for me.
Does anyone have any last second? Anyone have any last second trash talk that they want to get to before we are as we record 1 hour and 15 minutes from the kickoff, the official kickoff at midnight of round 2. Does anyone want to get their last little bit of trash talk in?
I would actually like to do the opposite and salute Martine. You killed it this week. Like, game recognizes game. That was awesome. It sucks that I lost, but it was a blast doing it.
All right. I see
I just
how
want to say that he only did that. He only got away with that because I wasn't playing. Martine knows. You know what would happen.
Randy, would you like to get in some timely trash talk?
Well, last time we were playing, and this time we're not. We got me writing the story, so get ready to enjoy.
Okay. Shep, you get to sit back and let democracy play out, but would you like to get some trash talk in?
I'm going to say we're going to repeat the streak. We're going to win this year too. That's
Okay.
it.
I like it. I like it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh, chest bump. Oh, my titties.
Martine.
Subscription.
Martine, would you like to do some more Batman stunting?
Nah, I'm good, man.
Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Same lat time, same lat channel. And Arturo, you can maybe tie a bow on this whole show.
How to close this out? Not really. I'm just looking forward to see who everybody, not just who everybody picks, but I do want to see a lot more stories and pictures of Spider-Man.
Yes. All right, Kia, make us all laugh.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, I just know that Kevin, you're doing a great job. Arturo, you're amazing tonight. Good job. You should come back more often. I'm just saying. Martine, your face is so cute. Randy, I hope you show up this week. You know, no more freebies. But and thank you for sharing your feelings. I loved it. And Shaun, Shaun, you just seriously, Shaun, just pick the best players. Seriously, you have it's like you have a cheat card right there. And if you don't pick the best player, like Cyborg, really? Was he like number one? Like, seriously?
I was trying to get Wonder Woman. I figured if I picked all black, they would pick Wonder Woman. They'd be like, this fucking white boy. You know what? Let's be Wonder Woman.
Don't think, just, you know what? Just do. Don't even think about it like that. Don't try to strategize. Just try to pick the best. Seriously, you have the cheat card. Do I have the cheat card? Shit. And Mike, you did a good job hosting.
Thank you. And if this is your first show, I apologize. But hopefully you'll join us next week, where we'll have maybe 18% less shenanigans, but we'll 17% less shenanigans. And support us at Patreon, soon to be OnlyFans as well.
Mm-hmm. And we'll always be working that poll.
Always be working the polls. Vote on our polls, share our polls, do whatever you want with our polls.
The safe word is always penis.
The safe word is always penis. And hopefully this is your favorite show. Hopefully next week is your next favorite show. And until next time, all things are possible.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.